You know, he's really, he's shameless in intellectual argument. He's absolutely without character, a moral foundation, or even intellectual substance.
We are here to give the final word on the quote-unquote literary men discussion. So people can quit it and go out and make things, because I am so sick of this discussion, even though I have contributed to it. So to do that, today I am joined by Glen Rockney from the Rare Candy podcast, as well as Kelby Losack and J. Osborne from the Agitator podcast, two shows which, among other things, I think cater to a male demographic that likes to read, among other things. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey.
Hello. What it do?
So now listeners to my other podcast, the Getting Lit podcast, one of the best book shows on earth, will no doubt be familiar with you guys, but I think the audience here is a bit different. So let's start with Glen and Rare Candy. How did the podcast start? What is it? And also tell us about Gain of Fiction.
Oh, yeah. You know, how it started was I got kind of reconnected to my co-host Sai, who he would disappear all the time, like just face the earth, Google number randomly, and you'd be like, "Who the fuck's this?" And you'd be like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And you're like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" You know. So after a while, we were talking, and we were just, I mean, we were talking about like tears in our eyes, laughing on both sides, funny stuff, and we're just like, "Why don't we just record this?" We both were very depressed. He had some losses in his family, and I was just kind of like beta male depressed, you know, like I didn't really have anything that crazy going on. I was just sad. I was just about to turn 30. It's like this, you know, so I just, it feels like, you know, that's a meme for all this shit where it's like, oh, that's what white guys do when they're sad, is this, which as though it's a bad thing. And then, so we started recording it, no listeners, no followers, no nothing. Like we would just keep going, and, you know, after a while, you realize like there was kind of, you know, COVID happens and everything. We very much kind of built our audience during that, even though the podcast was started a couple weeks before all of that. And we, after a while, I kind of realized like there's got to be something more than dystopian hellscape world, or at least commenting on dystopian hellscape world, which not that we've abandoned that either. But I realized I used to read a lot. Not to the degree where people are like, yeah, I read the Brothers Karamazov when I was 9, and you know, I revisited every once in a while. You know, I was never that person, but I was reading Stephen King, I was reading all of these Steinbeck when I was young, and I didn't quite appreciate what it did, but then I was like, anytime I was not reading, I was replacing that with a screen or something unproductive, or just like sitting like a Dostoevskian character, just wallowing and sulking and brooding. And I was like, it'd be nice to just, you know, take a tangible object or the Kindle or whatever and just look at that and get away from all of this for a little bit. And then when you come back to it, you have fresh thoughts and kind of be 1 foot in, 1 foot out in terms of the online sphere versus touching grass or whatever people want to say. And after a while, I kind of was going like, hey, I got into certain authors like Michael Crichton, which JDO's been a big part of that and stuff. And then, but getting into those authors, I was like, well, naturally the scheming little Paddy Irishman of myself, I was like, well, I gotta parlay that into a show. I have to have almost like a school-like deadline, or else I just won't do it. And now we're at over 60 volumes of Gain of Fiction, which is a lot of fun. You guys have all been on it. It's all been great. And it's a true hang that is not like most book clubs. And we've talked about this in the Unheard article a little bit, where it was like, it's not just guys sitting around with like snacks and like taking turns and shit. And it's like, it's guys just like laughing hard at stuff they've read in a book and actually commenting on like the sex scenes as they are, rather than like, oh, well, what this signifies is this. And it's like, no, it's actually sex, you know, is what that signifies. Now that guy's head getting caved in was actually that, you know, and then expanding on that. And, People say men don't read, and maybe they don't, but a lot more do now from our audience because of it. So
Yeah. And you have your most of your subscribers are men too, right? Like similar to my other podcast, I
I
think.
think it's
Yeah.
even more. I think the ratio is even higher. I'd say the Rare Candy regular episode free feed is like 80-20. We're doing ground beef numbers still with the ratio there, but
Hmm.
we get like real lean. It's like 90-10, I would imagine, for the Gain of Fiction stuff. So not everybody likes it. Not everybody likes it, but I don't care.
Mm. Mm.
And at the end of the day, I think a lot of people don't like being reminded of something they don't do anymore, thinking that it's elective,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
really realizing it's actually really hard for them to sit down and do this type of stuff, even though they might have done it in a past life.
Yeah, totally. And moving on to Agitator. So, Kelby and David, either one of you, give us the elevator pitch for what the show is. Now, the show has gone through a few iterations, but tell us what it is at the moment.
Well, it started as a Takashi Miike fan podcast.
Mm.
Takashi Miike is like David and I talk about writing, life, shit. I mean, David's been like my best homie for several years, even though we live in separate states, and we talk on the phone for like I don't know what, like a million hours at this point.
And be like, you hang
And
up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up.
Twirling the
yeah,
cord,
yeah.
twirling the cord. Yeah, yeah.
And then my wife is laying next to me like, "Oh my God, did you just tell your boyfriend good night?" And then so we at one point we were like, we should just record this, why not? And a lot of what we were talking about was Mike all the time because we're helping each other with our writing and shit. And Takashi Miike is this very workmanlike Japanese film director who is notorious for over the top kitchen sink movies that are very sincere but very whacked the fuck out. Um, and that's kind of both of our approach to literature is throw it all in there and be earnest about it, and each scene is its own thing, and you know tonal shifts are gospel. And um the show went through, I guess, like it's also a chronicle of our getting it out the mud because we were very poor and struggling in the beginning, and now we're like rich as shit. And
Mhm.
so it's it's a rags to riches story told in real time. Um, and now we're just like sage old family dudes who tell you how to be a man and get your shit together.
Mm. One thing I really like about your show, like, because it's a little bit different to Gain of Fiction in that you have the perspective of writing that you bring to it, but you do like talk about books and things you've read and as well. Is the workmanlike approach, like you really kind of promote that for writers and creatives and stuff, and I think that's really important. Approaching it like work, other than
hmm
rather than some sort of, you know, high-minded like artistic wank, you know.
hmm Well,
Yeah,
and
it's a craft.
Mm.
yeah, and you find that through the application of craft. If you don't apply yourself with discipline, and I'm always fascinated by how few writers are interested in books like Jurassic Park and the airport thrillers of old. I
Yeah.
made a stack of them, and I've been tearing through those bitches. They're so fucking readable. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But I look at something like that, at a book like Jurassic Park, or I'm reading Airframe right now, which is really
Mm.
cool. Um, and as a writer, you become fascinated with like how did they arrange the words in this order where I keep turning the pages, and then you think, would people reading my book turn the pages in the same way? What's the kind of secret sauce? So when we talk about anime or movies or video games or books, like you said, Matt, we're much more looking at it from a how did they do that? Like what's working here? So it's not ever really if we don't like something, we just want like we were we did one on an anime. anime called Lazarus that came out recently. And I just texted Kelby. I was like, I don't like this. I'm not watching the rest of it. And he's like, yeah, me neither. And then when we got together for the episode, we don't do this whole, well, we're supposed to have something to talk about. We just find things to talk about in terms of writing. But yeah, no, I like it as like whenever I am done recording with Kelby and Nicholas now, he's our third mic who's on pretty much every episode. He's a Zoomer who's was on just as a guest, and he had us dying laughing, like saying the most ridiculous shit.
He said
And
Home Depot they had an oil painting of him at this Home Depot.
it was,
I was like, this fool got to be on like every episode.
yeah. But
So
yeah,
it's an
so now,
intergenerational show now.
yep, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. We're the granddads, and he's the little baby. But
Hey, we're not
But yeah.
on that client list.
that's true. That's true. That's true.
But so yeah, I like that approach of taking things that you've read or watched and looking at what works. I've been doing that actually I've read a few like romance novels, like just because I don't want to write romance, but just to sort of see how it works, like the nuts and bolts of it. And it is really interesting how they do it. Like even me, who's not into romance, really, like it does keep me reading because it's just like, oh, what's going to happen? And it's really basic stuff. It's literally just what's going to happen next, you know?
Writing is all anticipation. I read Relic by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child recently, which is great. Came out in 1995, so it was writing the Jurassic Park wave. The plot, in short, is a dinosaur is loose in a museum and is eating people. It's not exactly a dinosaur, but it's like a genetic anomaly. There's a twist at the end where you find out what the thing really is, but for all intents and purposes, it's a bulletproof dinosaur. And it's a 500-page novel, and it's so tense, so tense, so tense. And when the dinosaur finally goes after people, the gore is really well done, but that it's like a paragraph or two describing the thing that you've been reading 150 pages to get to is very short. And that's the same with romance, right? I think it would be weird if you had a 10-page sex scene. Maybe these books do, I don't know. But most of it's the will they or won't they, or we know they're going to, but like how crazy is it going to get?
First base, second base, like it's that sort of stuff. Yeah.
That's all a thriller is teasing it out as long as you can, which was a revelation for me because I'm always trying to write like the maximalist, the thing that happens as crazily as possible. But I think I've had it backwards for most of my writing, where it's the leading up to is where the juice is.
Yeah, totally. So, do you want to tell us about Kelby and David, your latest books and where people can find it, what they're about? I guess yours is actually out at the moment, JDO. So tell us about God's Fair No Better.
Yeah, God's Fair No Better is out. It's not doing bad. I'm surprised by how well it's doing. It's a big cyberpunk epic. Kelby mentioned that Takashi Miike is kind of a kitchen sink director. I dedicated the book to him because I feel like it's my kitchen sink book. I don't know if I'm going to do another one quite like that, maybe sometime in the future, but it follows an assassin whose memory has been erased, and he lives in a monastery for a year and then leaves and goes out to discover himself and finds out that everybody in the city wants to kill him. There are multiple characters, multiple POVs, and it's just a book that I wrote to put every weird idea that I had into and to make myself laugh. Literally, at times, I would be writing things and I would think, this will make Kelby laugh. This will make Glen and Cy laugh. Matt's going to like this. Like, it's a book that was born from these conversations and the kind of intelligent but also Beavis and Butthead style way that we communicate with each other. And I just tried to write my ass off. I was like, if I'm going to do one of these, I'm going to try to kill it. And I hope I write more, but since I am a little bit more mercenary with the writing now, I won't write it until the first one at least pays me something, you know?
Yeah.
Like, cause I'm trying to be a professional writer.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep trying different things.
You're working on the marketing as well. And that, what you just said all of that was like so tight in terms of like telling people what it's about, what they're going to get and stuff. Because I've read it, I
Mhm.
love it, obviously,
Yep.
and yeah, you've really honed the pitch there. So well done.
Thank you. That's ChatGPT.
Hey.
and and Kelby, tell us about like I love your writing too. I've read a couple of your books, and what's on the horizon.
So Texas Tea dropping November 5th is my venture into the neo-Western pulp
Yep.
arena, bringing a little bit of the hood rat noir to the Western genre. It's about this boy who is orphaned by a psychotic rodeo clown and raised by the most gangster ass rancher in South Texas. Um, it's kind of like if Yellowstone was on crack. Uh, he's raised up, um, committing executions at the age of 12, pushing Lockhart and military grade weapons while cowboying at the same time. And it spans several decades, or it goes back and forth between a few decades. And up in Cutter's the main dude, the little psycho, up in his middle age, the rancher Cedric is in like his 70s, and he's like, I'm getting too old for this shit, and he's trying to hang his hat in peace, and he's trying to like wind shit down. He's covering his tracks, he's going legit, he's trying to leave his daughter a legitimate untouchable fortune behind and everything. But this little monster he's created and this bastard child that he raised to be a killer is just like, nah, I'm in my peak right now. Like, let's go. The game is turning up. And so it's gonna be, I don't know, probably like the best book anybody's ever read.
Well, just on the blurb alone that you shared the other day on social media, I believe that, and also I think it's something that is very. I would not be surprised if you got an option for it because just based on the concept alone, it's like an
Hmm.
incredible original concept that also sort of like harkens back to these older genres, and that's sort of where we need to go. And in part, that's sort of what this podcast and the whole Substack that I'm trying to do is all about, is like encouraging that, like, new mythologies, but that coming out of the old and the present rather than just
Yeah.
constantly talking about the present and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a difficult thing that, I struggled with it for a while, and I still see people struggling with it a lot. And now in my enlightened phase, I'm like, what are y'all tripping over? But it's it's sometimes hard. I was struggling with this before I finally was able to kick out hurricane season, and then David and I did Dead Boy. There were a couple years where I was like, how do I even write? Everything sucks. And it's like, you don't have to be that present. The thing
Hmm.
about books is, like, one of the things that sucks about trying to sell them is it's not a drop date kind of thing. It's
Hmm.
not, and I'm into astrology like religiously and stuff like that, but you can't really, when you drop a book, doesn't fucking matter because it's the medium that has the longest shelf life. And really it picks up the older it gets. Like, it's better, it's like
Mm.
wine. So you can't just, you got to know that you're going to drop this shit and it'll be 30 years before people really fuck with it.
Mm.
So you can't be so present and like
Mm.
so hung up and how do I write about this anymore now that COVID's happened, or now that this, or
Yeah.
it's like, you just do, you're writing for 50 years from now. You're not writing
Mm.
for right now.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to Cormac McCarthy. Like, he pretty much got all of his success later in life. Like, all of his book,
Mm-hmm.
he had moderate success, obviously, throughout his life, but wasn't that great until like the twilight of his life. Both those books sound incredible. Where can
Yeah.
people find them? Just on the Zon, or where?
Yeah, yeah, mine is on Amazon. I have a website. It's runandtrash.bigcartel.com, where you can buy one from a different printer than Amazon. I think it's a little bit nicer, and the price is a little bit higher. I call it my author support way of buying the book. If you want to give me more money, that's literally what you're doing. You're giving me $10 instead of $2. So that's
Yeah.
very appreciated. Otherwise, you just buy it off Amazon. That's fine too.
Amazing. And also, Kelby, when yours drops, I'm thinking Amazon, or are you doing direct selling, or both, or
Yeah, both. That's kind of my MO. You can buy all of my books on, well, now you can buy a few of them, and you can pre-order Texas Tea at kelbylosack.bigcartel.com. Or you can, yeah, go on Amazon.
Fun fact about November 5th, in Australia, it's Melbourne Cup Day. Do you know about the Melbourne Cup?
Is that where
No.
everybody gets brand new cups?
No, it's a horse race. And so like it's the race that stops the nation. So like everyone basically gets the day off to watch this fucking horse race and gets gets all dressed up, like the women wear fascinators and things like
it's
that.
like the Kentucky Derby for
Sort of, yeah,
for-
but like
yeah,
way
yeah.
more trashy. Like
Oh,
That
nice.
sounds
it's
fun as
Australian.
fuck. I'm not
It's
even gonna lie.
Australian. So like everyone's like drunk and like vomiting in portaloos and things like that. So yeah.
That's the kind of thing that I would like to travel for is festivals and things like
Yeah.
if you go to Germany, you want to go for Oktoberfest. I like traveling a long way to party.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
feel
you can
like
stay here for free if you want to come to the Melbourne Cup.
I will say like
I will not go with you though, because
have you been?
I've been and done that. Yes.
Yeah. It's an experience. Yeah. My wife hates
No,
that shit, but I have a lot of fun being around trash. It's my
Yeah.
favorite people.
But it's all like everyone's trash, but they're all like really nicely dressed, so it's really funny, like the kind of incongruity of that.
I feel like that's how I'm growing into. I've been trying to be like, man, you got to grow up. Like you're a boss. You make money.
You're gonna
You
be
don't
more
live in the
pimped
hood.
out. You're gonna be like
And
a
I'm like,
urban
I don't-
dandy.
Yeah. Just got to
Yeah.
be an urban
Like old
dandy.
black
Put some-
guys. Old black guys have the way to do it. Like they'll be
Yeah.
60 years old and they'll have tracksuits and gold teeth and you know, it's fucking cool. It's a cool way to
And
do
they'll
it.
and they'll be
That's
like they'll be like,
pride.
damn man, that guy's like 50 years old traveling like no kids. Like and he goes, no, I got like 10 kids, bro. Like I just like I do this shit. Like I don't get they don't stop me, bro. Like it's just
All right, let's get on to the topic of today, which is this constant. When I wrote that piece for Unheard, which I interviewed everyone here about it, about like the literary man, and like there was this one New York Times piece about how men who read have sort of disappeared or whatever, and I thought, well, not as far as I can see, because like I listen to all your podcasts and more. There's
Right.
way more than just our podcasts, and it seemed like there was a big community of mostly men who did this sort of, did read. And like I acknowledge that that's like a small segment of a demographic, but it's also like it hasn't disappeared. It's just sort of gone to sort of niche areas like this, and so but now there's this huge discursive loop around it. Like, so, and I probably contributed it by writing my piece about it, but like,
I think it
there's,
started it.
it may be, yeah, probably. So like, there's a big, every week it seems there's another think piece about this, another Substack about it, another post that goes viral about it or whatever. But I would just I sort of want to start that by saying that it seems that a lot of the commenters on this are noticing. I'm noticing that they kind of conflate two related but not the same things. Like one, the excision basically of white male writers from the publishing industry, how like this, they're pretty much everything that people say about marginalized identities like is true about white men in publishing.
Sure.
And two, the apparent lack of large numbers of men reading books, novels in particular. So I think that often people are slipped between these two things, and I think that like disentangling those is kind of important. But what do you guys think about this discourse in general? Like, I've gotten to the point where, like, yeah, yes, the publishing industry is long-housed and blah blah. All the right-wing talking points, they're all kind of
Mhm.
true. But I feel like whinging about it constantly is also really lame, and it doesn't do anything. That's my that's I'm just staking my position out up front. So I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with that.
No,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
it shows you're a loser if you're complaining about the publishing industry because it's like complaining about a dilapidated Taco Bell. It's like if or no, what's even like a Long John Silver's? When's the last time you saw a Long John Silver's? It's being like, man, Long John Silver's just don't make food for white people no more. And you're like, who
it's kind of
fucking
true. Yeah.
cares? Like they're out of money. They don't exist. Like they're closing down. That's what the publishing industry is. It's going away.
Yeah.
And people read all over the place, like normal people. Like everybody online, like I think most people are reading books. Like not, how people are always like, "Oh, you read all day. You look at Twitter." Like no, people read books.
Hmm.
They listen to them a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I think
There's a
that sure.
there's a really important thing about the way that that book sales are reported. So the industry standard for book sales is BookScan. It's been used forever, but BookScan does not include things like Kindle Unlimited. As a matter of fact, I don't really think it includes any independent publishing at all. So
no,
there's,
it's counted by a very specific way that you purchase the ISBN. It's really retarded.
yeah,
So like some of mine are on BookScan and some aren't.
right. And so basically, where these articles are coming from is two places. The first one is they're completely ignoring that an entire ecosystem is not emerging, but has emerged. It exists. The Rolling Stone piece with Dan Baltic and Nutcracker and all that was kind of the first mainstream uh,
Yeah.
acceptance that that was kind of happening. But um, so there's a whole industry that's going on that they refuse to acknowledge, mostly because it is dominated by white males. And then the second is that within their own industry, yes, that is true. Men are not reading those books. That is true. But it's complicated because men love reading Brad Thor and Jack Carr and the Jack Reacher
Yeah.
series and mysteries. And we don't tend to think because like Crichton books used to be such huge across demographic events. They're not that anymore, but the the tier one operator fiction is basically between that and biographies of famous people and romance is basically keeping the entire publishing industry alive. But then within that, there's this small cottage industry that gets all of the recognition, which is
Hmm.
fine. I don't give a shit. But it's the literary stuff, right? And literary stuff has always been a little silly.
Hmm.
There've been some good,
Yeah.
when back when the Brat Pack was a thing, all
Yeah.
that shit rocked. Donna Tartt was awesome back in the 80s, basically, right? And then it got to a point where it did become very long-housed because that industry was taken over, as most types of industries like this are, by women. And not just any women, but New York City
Yeah.
upper crust society women, right? Who probably don't have kids and need someone to take care of, so they make racism their baby, or I don't know if that metaphor works, but they so then they made
Just nursing racism.
nursing racism. So they and so they made it their mission to
It's baby racism. I picture as like y'all ever see the Little Rascals where they take the black baby, they take Buckwheat's what brother or whatever, and they paint him white and they sell him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
So there's
That's
a lot of
exactly
things
what it
going on.
is.
The women who've taken over, so to speak, as well, like always come from a very distinct class background,
Correct.
because when you think about the economics of the mainstream publishing industry anyway, which is in the Anglosphere, is pretty much just based in New York. And
Hmm.
so, like, that's where all the big five publishers are. And so, all of those people to have their careers have to live in New York, an extremely expensive place to live. And how can like someone who's like a really great writer or editor, male or female, how can they live in that city while doing like unpaid internships and like rising through the ranks?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
only way that you can do that is if you have some money behind you, whether that's from, and in for the most part, it's family money. So it's like rich kids
Right.
who can afford to like do these sort of unpaid internships and eventually rise through the ranks of the business or the industry. So that there's a particular class factor going in as well. So it's not just about like it is all females, but it's also all females of a particular class. And that has its blind spots, obviously.
Yeah, because female, I mean, I listen to so many different self-publishing shows. The Creative Pen with Joanna Penn is great. Word Slinger podcast with Kelby's boy, Kevin Tumlinson, is really good. And
He went
you
to
have
school
these
with my
people.
parents.
Yeah. They have these people on, and all of them are like, yeah, I'm a six-figure author. And it's a name that you've never fucking heard of.
Yeah.
And they say, what do you write? And usually it's some variation of, I've heard like, children's books, fantasy, obviously, sci-fi. And then for women, it's various shades of romance. I'll listen to podcasts with like a woman who comes on and she's like, yeah, I write, no sex, Christian 1800s romances. And this chick is pulling in like 200 G's a year doing
Yeah.
this shit. And guys are doing it too. So I won't harp on this too much, but I do just want to say up front that everything that we're talking about is about a very specific scene. And it frustrates me to no end that everybody has to pretend like this doesn't exist. Right? So all of my friends who have big like New York deals, like you will never see them mention the new like a Will White book or something like or even Brandon Sanderson, who's like Brandon Sanderson is not really talked about by this particular clique of people because he's a very inconvenient guy who's dropping like $12 million Kickstarters, and it requires all of them collectively to go, Brandon, who? Sanderson? Oh no, yeah, never heard of the guy.
Do you think that comes from like I like that you mentioned like literary fiction that comes from this idea when they say that men aren't reading books, what they're actually saying in most of these sort of pieces or posts or whatever is men aren't reading literary fiction. And so but they are reading all of these sort of like quote unquote trashy genres or whatever, whether they're like cultivation novels or what's the other one?
EMP apocalypse
lit RPG.
novels.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Orc City.
literally.
Lit RPG is not my thing, but I fucking respect it. A lot of those dudes burn out though. It's rough.
Yeah, they would. But like, so there's this sort of a snobbishness, I guess, that like they don't know what they don't know because what they're focused on is literary fiction. They want to resurrect the Brat Pack, which is not coming back. But they want that kind of thing to return, and I just don't think it's going to happen. And I think that specifically is what they're talking about, literary fiction. Even though they don't say that, they just say, "Oh, men aren't reading." Well, no, men aren't reading your attempts to recreate Donna Tartt or Bret Easton Ellis. Well, they're not trying to recreate Bret Easton Ellis because who could? But you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's really easy to not read though. That's I will say it's really easy to just go like I think this is the first era in history, not in history, but in recent history where like you could go your whole life without reading a book. Like you could. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of other times like there was just a lot of idle time where it's like, well, what the fuck else am I going to do? You know what I mean? Like you just have this marketplace of options of things you can do instead of reading a book. I come at it from a reader's perspective of I want to see this put into the world, therefore it's the field of dreams approach. Build it, and see what happens. And I do like literary fiction. I like genre fiction. I like it all. I think you can, I think most, Kelby and I were talking about it, most of the stuff's subjective. Like it's good or it's bad. It doesn't matter what it's about. Like, my wife gets mad because I'll say like, I'm reading this book right now. You should read it when I'm done. She goes, what's it about? I'm like, who gives a fuck? Like, it's good. You know what I mean? Like, and to be fair, she likes a certain genre of book. And I go, who cares? I don't care. I didn't care when I read the back of this book about any of the things that were said on the back of it. But I trusted the writer. And I also want rock star writers again. And I don't think that's up to the writer themselves a lot of times. Now you should be, but what are you going to do when you have a big book, right? Like say you have a book that's like kind of edgy or at least is like something different that is pushing the limits of something, or at least like making people go, huh, that's interesting. The cover's interesting. The something about it. I bet you so many people bought Infinite Jest when they saw David Foster Wallace spurging out on Charlie Rose. You know what I mean? People just went like, I gotta see what that guy's talking about. Or the vice versa. Like it was like, I never want to hear anything from that guy ever again. Where do you go right now in the mainstream world? Like if you are trying to be seen by 1 million people to talk about your book, you're going to go on a hyper focused, hyper edited podcast where you're so scared to say anything inflammatory. Whereas you go into this whole time that people are pining for this, John Updike and John Cheever will be talking shit on Dick Cavett show, like talking shit. You know what I mean? Going on, what's the other ones in the 80s or something, like just these people going on and like sending shots at other writers. Like, hey, that I know you had this guy on, so that guy sucks. You know, like just these things. And I know it can sound kind of childish, but I think people miss the rock star male author. That's what they're saying doesn't exist. Not that there aren't good books to read. Now they're being lazy. I also get mad at people who are addicted to saying what isn't around anymore. You know, like I think that's kind of lazy, though I can do it myself. I can definitely fall into that category myself, but I think it's kind of a lazy thing. Like people complain about the birth rate, but do not have sex. People complain about books they don't read. It's just all these, it's all, I can't go to the gym today. It's raining outside. I don't want to drive in that weather. It's basically that, and to me, I say, look, there are a lot of really boring authors right now. There are a lot of people who want to comment online, like what's online, comment on this burgeoning online scene. I'm reading to get away from that. So no thanks. And I want you to write the thing you are uber passionate about, the thing that keeps you up at night, the thing that like makes you wake up and go, that's it. Write about that and talk your shit. Like, be a rock star. You know what I mean? If you're a writer, like, I can't tell you how many people I talk to, like, you'll read their stuff and you'll be like, whoa, like, you're talking shit in here. I like this. And then they come on twiddling their fucking thumbs. Come on the show. I don't care about your introverted personality. Talk to me. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta, like, come on here and be interesting. Be, like, people buy into that. The reason Joe Rogan can make you a star overnight is you go on his show, and if people are like, wow, that guy's interesting, they buy the thing that it doesn't matter what it is. It could be the fucking Scott's Turf Builder alternative thing that this guy's shilling on there. He'll go, that guy's tight. He said something really funny about the Super Bowl or something, and I bought his product. And I think that ecosystem is very attainable, but everybody's got this kind of like thing where it's like, well, I must go on this podcast where it's 32 minutes with 3 HelloFresh ads and extremely, we're getting off topic here. Let's get back on the conversation. No, like I think the rock star author is what everybody misses. And those guys were like out there, like people would see them and go like, there's that guy. Like he's kind of a fucking prick in real life, but damn, his books are really good. Or, that's what I want to see again. And that's, and nobody on online spheres is a fucking rock star.
Well, they don't even want to show their face in public.
Exactly. So what do you want? You want to blow up again? No, you don't. Like, so I'm always like, I actually question your, I actually question the integrity of what you're actually saying. Because to me, like, I respect what these two gentlemen do down here where it's like they will just go to a conference and sell their books and they will go and talk to you as you walk by. It's how many people, there's so many people who have MFAs and all these things that have so much pride, which I think is an actual horrible thing to have as a writer.
Every time we go,
selling too.
Every time
we
we
went
go,
to AWP,
we sell our dicks off.
all the people who were like, just there were other people with booths and shit who were, selling their book. They had their books on tables, and they were coming around looking at us like, what the fuck?
We were
Like we
shouting at
were,
them.
yeah.
We were like, "Do
Yeah,
you
I'll
like weird
fucking
books?
frisbee
Come
one at
here."
your head. Frisbee one at your head. This one's on the house. Pow pow, right in the side of your fucking head.
Mhm.
And
I'll
we
read
cleaned
that
up,
probably.
dude. We
Yeah,
cleaned up.
yeah,
We all paid for our trips, basically. I mean,
yeah.
by doing
And
that,
it's like that was a in real life experience of what I say and know to be true all the time, which is that there's the writer who does this shit for prestige and to prove to dad that him paying
Right.
for their kids' lifestyle has resulted in
Hmm.
something.
Hmm.
And then there's people who want to make money. So there were what, like, professors, because AWP is a thing where and this is like the big thing that every literary person's gonna know. We go to shit all the time, fucking selling at festivals all over the place. But there were like professors of universities that people were there trying to pitch themselves to, trying to be like, hey, check out my thesis paper, or do you take in,
Hmm.
however you get into college or whatever, can I suck your dick in the mixed gender bathroom? Um, and they would come up to our table and just be like, hey, respect,
yeah,
and
we
they're like,
we we
they kind
loosened
of
up some.
stand there. They stand there like, I don't know what I have to offer you, but I like what you're doing. And I'm like, you're right,
Yeah,
you have nothing to offer me.
Yeah.
I'm doing fine.
yeah, we loosened up some they them's. Pause. But yeah, some really uptight kind of people
Yeah.
came by, and you just get them talking because it's like Glenn was saying, it's about being enthusiastic about books in general, and
Right.
then your books specifically. And
Yeah.
Hmm.
those conversations become really cool because, like, the best conversations that I have with people is where we're talking about shit that we love and recommending it to each other. Those are like these rock slide fucking snowball conversations where you're like,
Right.
oh, and have you read that shit's tight
Hmm.
because of this? And then they go, oh yeah, I love. And so selling is just that. And then you're like, and if you love that, check this shit out. Like, I wrote this and it's like this because I love this. It's a it's a cool environment. If it was, financially viable to be a traveling gypsy book salesman, that would be fun. Going to like different cities and setting up. But anyway, I don't know if that's off topic or not.
Yeah, no,
Got to get
that's
back on
completely
topic,
on
guys.
topic. I love the
Yeah.
point that you made, Glenn, about being interesting. But I would go kind of further one by saying that them more than, because some writers aren't interesting people. Like, their writing
Yeah.
might be interesting, but like, as long as there's some level of enthusiasm, particularly in your own work, like, it
Hmm.
sells itself. Like, it, and I don't even mean like sells units of books. I mean, it sells like the concept that you're putting out there, your persona or whatever, that if you're enthusiastic about something. Because so many
Yeah,
people
exactly.
so many people, particularly in the literary fiction world, they have this sort of like detached, kind of sometimes ironic approach to it, that it's like,
Self-deprecating
yeah, oh
too.
yes, I wrote this book, and I really hate that, because I think it's false modesty. Because
Yeah.
it's, if you wrote a book, like, you think it's good, like, and if you're trying to publish it, you think it's good. So it's like, I hate that. Oh, this old thing. It's that,
Right,
but
right.
it's done in this really kind of like,
Hmm.
trying to ape Donna Tartt, Severe Bob with a pashmina kind of thing. Like, it's just, it's like, own what you did and be enthusiastic about it. Like, that's what
Yeah.
appeals to people.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's not even an author, but I love him. I think what he's done for comedy is wonderful, but like Shane Gillis has this problem all the time.
Mm.
He will say this great joke. It'll be a great joke. It'll push the envelope perfectly, but be palatable for a mainstream audience, for them to go like that kind of, but laugh, see that everybody else is laughing and realizing that he will like put the gate up exactly where it needs to be. And he will always follow it up with, I'm just a fucking idiot anyways.
Mm.
Like, what do
Mm.
I know? And it's
Mm.
like, you know a lot,
Mm.
actually. And I've always, that's why I push back on a lot of people that say, well, some of these books are nihilist. I go, maybe.
Hmm.
The simple act of sitting down and writing 300 to 400 pages, though, because something's
Yeah.
eating at your mind, is not nihilist. So
Hmm.
don't be on there like, and I know everybody does this, but like, yeah, I'm already on to my next thing anyways. So let's talk about your book right now that I can read and my audience can buy. How about we talk about that one?
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
don't give a shit about what you're working on. I mean, I do. I care about what these guys are, but if I just meet an author, I've done it. I've picked up a couple of books from people, some good, some bad. Emily Russo's book is great, and so I was like, yeah, this was, and she was very good. It matched the book the way she was
Hmm.
talking. It was like, wow, this is cool. This is like a companion piece. Because I actually pushed back a little bit. Like, I actually think you need to be I think you need to try to be entertaining, and I'm tired of
Hmm.
antisocial people. I know there's always been some writers, look, not everyone's Thomas Pynchon. There's one.
Hmm. Hmm.
One guy can just
Hmm.
can just get off on being mysterious. Nobody else
Oh,
can. I'm sorry.
really hate cultivated like mystery and mystique.
Yeah,
And I've come
yeah.
across this on my other show, with a
Mm,
few people that I've had on. And it's really fucking irritating. Like, it's just like, you're giving me nothing here because you're trying to
yeah,
construct some like, oh, I'm just this mysterious
yeah.
kind of layabout or whatever.
And
Uh,
also, yeah, but what I mean is like, like right now, like there's this kind of either you have to understand the way people consume things nowadays. People can scoff at the word influencer, but it's a thing.
mm,
It's a fucking thing. Like they're like girls buy products because they watch girls get ready on YouTube.
Hmm.
There's a girl named Alex Earl who's 24 years old who has millions of dollars because she puts makeup on every day. But you know what? It's also because people think the shit she says is kind of funny.
mm,
You start getting into all of these things. And then, she has a million other ways to make money. A lot of these authors, like, they're like, well, one day, someone will give me a prize for writing a great book.
Yeah,
And they'll
dude,
find my
that's
book
Yeah.
it.
and they'll
That's
give me
it.
a ribbon,
Yeah,
and they'll
yeah,
just put it on me and everyone will
yeah,
go, I'm
yeah,
going to
yeah.
buy that book. No, you kind of have to do the minstrel show thing.
mm.
Like, I hate to
Yeah.
break it to you. This is all a big minstrel show. I'm postmodern in that way of just like going like, guys, all of this decorum and shit is done. I don't even think it really ever existed, but it kind of did. But now we've broken that with social media and the internet. It's all gone. You have to be in people's faces all the time.
Mm.
There's only one Kanye. There's only one Thomas Pynchon. There's only like those are anomalies and they are respected as such. You are not that. I am not that. People forget
Yeah.
about you when you don't say anything for a month.
Mm. You need to go to everything. Go to the opening of an envelope. Like, that's what you have to do. You just
I know.
like
It's not a
that's what.
pejorative. It's
Yeah,
not a
and when you've
pejorative
got
anymore.
a project that you kind of have to promote, like whether it's a podcast or an
Hmm.
article you've written or a book, uh, you really have to be. You have this thing. I know, Glenn, you've talked about this, that when you are posting stuff and you feel like you're getting to the point of being annoying. But it's like,
Yeah.
no, you're actually not, because like
Yeah.
your algorithm, like if you're not annoying, you're just not seen. And then you're not actually, you might feel like you're being annoying, but what you're
Yeah.
actually not being seen if you're not getting to that level of feeling self-conscious about putting everything out there constantly.
Yeah, I used to know rappers, underground rappers, that like if they were worried about not being annoying, they wouldn't have got any shows. They wouldn't have got anything. And you find out like, oh, holy shit, like this guy's ended up, opening up for so and so. And like because he was constantly in people's faces, constantly pulling people to the side to discuss it. And people will say like that guy's annoying. Still fucked though, basically, is
Mm,
kind of the thing. Like I still hit, basically.
mm,
Like, the guy who asked 20 girls for their phone numbers maybe gets one, maybe gets none, maybe, but he still keeps going. And there are a lot of people who take the first bad criticism, they stop writing, and they go, oh, fuck the haters and all that stuff. Well, they got you. They beat you. Like
Hmm.
they one thing, they said one thing about you, and you got rabbit ears about it, despite developing this fucking cultivated personality of like, I'm above it all. I'm everything. I don't even like my own books. They're dumb. You
mm,
should love you, but they'll change your life. This whole thing. Like, I love when somebody goes, "Yeah, I wrote this book and I fucking love it. Like, I would do anything to get it into your hands." And I'm like, "Hey, maybe I'll like it. Maybe I don't. I'm gonna check it out." Case in point, I had this guy. We publish fiction on our Substack. We have no reason to. Like straight up, like what we do. Bob's Red Pill is the thing people read for Substack, and that's about peeing out metal because you drink Fiji water.
I drink
Like,
Fiji water every day since I read
it's
that.
fucking great. It's great. It's fucking great. No, yeah, I was mad that I was like, don't name the brand until they pay you. But no, anyways, anyways, no, he's right for that because I'm you know, they're gonna racist men are drinking Fiji water to pee metal out, and that's the new no, the libs took away Fiji water, man. But anyways, we don't need to publish fiction. However, I have a upper hand by saying like, I don't even say it, but I'll just go, okay, our audience is men. Most of them are white, probably. I'm just gonna guess.
True.
If any of them write, I'll just be like, hey, I'll put it up there for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll put it up. I'll put it out. You know, and I've turned stuff down. I don't just publish everything. But there was one guy named Chris Horrell who wrote a really nice short fiction story, very much in the Cormac McCarthy vein. It was really nice. But the way he emailed me, he heard me on Brad Kelly's Method of Madness podcast, kind of saying that, hey, send it to me, see what happens. You know, like worst thing I can do is say no. And I read it and I was like, his email, he's like, I'm a nobody. He goes, but I fucking love this story and you're going to love it too. He's like, I love this shit. He's like, I love this shit. It's damn good. He goes, I read it all the time and I love it. And he goes, and I'm just like a 38-year-old dad or something like that. And I was like, so I read it and I was like, he's right. This is really good. I published it and I was but I probably wouldn't have gotten right to it if it wasn't for that tagline. And you could say that, you know, with white guys, that gets beaten out of them. White guys are too confident, too brash and everything. First off, if you were really that confident and brash, you wouldn't care about someone saying you were too confident and too brash. So don't let them win at this. Submit everything. If you're proud of something, do not ever try, it's got to blow up, but it's got to blow up in this certain exact way. No, it's got to blow up in the way everything else blows up.
Yeah, totally.
That's what's frustrating about a lot of good writing these days too, is that the lack of confidence in great writers, or just this adopted self-deprecating bullshit facade. Whichever it is probably maybe a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, because I don't think you can pretend to be that pathetic without actually having a lack of confidence.
For sure.
Well, the kind of need to be bestowed a prize is, it's a little bit beta to be quite honest.
It is.
So like, and there's a certain like lack of confidence within that, like, you know.
Yeah, because like, okay, say you submit the story like this. Say it's the exact same story, but you submit it to me, and you're like, look, man, I'm just a fucking loser. Like, I'm just a dumb loser. Like, I fired from every job. This shit's not even tight, but like, you said you wanted stuff, so I'll send it to you. I'm not gonna read it.
That's not how sales works.
Exactly. We've all done that, right, in our life. Like, if I've literally sold books for a living. Like, I've worked at Borders, and they would say these 5 things. Make sure people leave with this book. One time it was Water for Elephants. I fucking read Water for Elephants. It's
Did
not
you
bad.
like it?
Yeah, I did. I
was
did,
going to say, it's
thought,
not bad. It's actually not bad.
But it was like, it looked gay. I was like, this looks terrible. And it looked like the other Bolin girl, like one of those, but which is probably good too. I didn't read it. But I just, at the time, 19-year-old guy, like, last thing I want to read is this shit. I read it, and all of a sudden, like, I'm selling it to people at the thing, and I'm not saying like this book's kind of dumb, but they kind of want us to like sell this shit. Can you like buy this, and stuff like that's not a sales tactic. It's not like, you have to be reductive a little bit about this. Like, if you big brain everything, you're just gonna sit there with a big brain and nothing will happen.
Glen's bringing up a very important point that goes directly into this. Why aren't men reading? This whole sphere of people who so desperately want to be let into the castle and be given a seat. People are terrified of sales. People are terrified of selling things because you are extremely vulnerable when you sell until you do it for a while, and then you don't care anymore. It's up there with public speaking as one of the scariest things that you can do, because you're literally going out there and confidently saying something to somebody who might say back to you, no, thank you, that doesn't look like my thing, which is a total ego trip, right? So the reason why this scene that exists and that, people like myself and Kelby have largely given up on trying to impress or enter, but white guys still want to get in there. What's so interesting is they will fight and bitch and moan to get allowed a space in this castle simply because they believe that once they have that seat, somebody will do all that selling for them. They won't actually have to do the hard part, right? The people who we're talking about who bitch and moan about this on Substack, they're totally fine bitching and moaning about it on Substack because they're not actually selling anything. They're tearing something down. They believe that if they tear something down, they're not risking anything. They're not being vulnerable. They're trying to basically blow a hole in the side of the castle so that they can get in and then have everybody just takes care of them because they're king now or something. I don't really know what the next steps to that plan are. But I really do think that what grinds my gears the most about the people who complain about this thing is that they want to be a part of it. They're not just shitting on it because of the reasons we might shit on it. They're complaining because they're like, that should be me. And my perspective on it is, well, number one, it's not. It's not anymore. I mean, if you don't know how to read the cultural signs, I don't know what to tell you, but the industry is not going to change overnight to give you a seat at all this. It will start to change, and it'll be very interesting to see how like people of color and women react to white dudes being reintroduced into the ecosystem. It'll be funny.
They're reaching out to me a lot, but they're not coming with the right price point.
They are legitimately reaching out to Kelby.
I have text messages.
Yeah.
Wait, you're white?
Somebody listened to the show recently and like, I cannot remember the context of this, so it's going to be it's going to lose some of its punch. But they legitimately, when I mentioned something about Kelby, they said what Matt said. They're like, he's white. But
it was one of your coworkers.
That's right. Yeah, it was a coworker.
It's probably saying the N word, probably because he said the N word a few times. They're like, wait, that guy's white.
They're not allowed to do that.
That's
anyway,
crazy.
Just to repeat myself one more time and then wrap up on that. It is very annoying because they're not proposing new solutions. They're not blazing any trails. They're not creating institutions of their own. They're whinging and complaining about wanting to be let in so that other people, the servants, can do all the work for their unpaid interns. Well, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, there seems to be two kinds of responses to it, which is your Alex Perez like moaning, and that's that type, right? And
he wants to be in the party so bad, dude.
Yeah, but the responses are sort of like, I guess you could frame them as politically reactionary in the sense of they're not like everyone who's saying it is by virtue of the fact that they can critique it a non-libtard, right? Like, and that can be like various shades of centrist to, Wignats or something like that. But like, so someone like Perez, who he wants to be let in, but he comes at it from accepting the hypothesis and the logic of the system. So like he'll complain about DEI, but then he'll say, oh, they don't let enough working class Cuban American writers in there, which just so happens to align with my identity.
Thank God they don't. I've been working to stop that for the longest time.
God, but that is such a damn good point, though. I mean, that's a really sharp observation, I think.
Yeah, so they end up just like reifying the very logic that they're arguing against. So there's that.
It's the black iron prison. You create the black iron prison for yourself.
Yeah. Well, and I saw this coming up in publishing. So a lot of people who I came up with now are a part of the system. Very few of them are white. But I would watch, of course, like you're DMing them, you're calling them on the phone, you're going to cons with them, we're buddies, all this kind of stuff. And I remember bringing up to them because some of them would get really on this sort of libtarded high horse about shit. Like whenever it was Read Black Women Month, they'd be all in. And so whenever we would be alone and having a beer, I'd be like, what are you doing, dude? Like, read black women? Why? And they would be like, they would literally tell me to my face, like, it's playing well. It's
Mm.
working.
Yeah.
Playing up my identity is working well, right? Like some people who just so happen to be brown or gay. There's even one guy who was like, who is a mainstream published author who was saying that he was queer for a while. And I was like, dude, you're not, I was like, dude, you're not queer. He's like, yeah, man, I let a dude suck my dick one time. And I was like, nah, that's just gay, bro. But,
Yeah. Yeah.
but,
Now, if you
but
let a catfish do it, that's
if you
queer.
let a catfish do it, it's a little queer.
My
But
my favorite story is the Taylor Swift anthology story. There was this
oh yeah,
anthology that didn't
yep,
happen because there
yep.
wasn't enough DEI checklist boxes ticked off or something. And one
Damn.
of the editors was like, "Well, I sucked dick for crack one time, so I could be the gay guy." And
Yeah.
they were like, "The anthology's over. It's done.
They
You're
canceled it. They
fired."
canceled it. That was the editors on that were Sean Cosby and Alex Segura, who are both noted. Like both of those people are good examples of this, right? Like
Mm.
their careers kind of took off, and I knew them as normal people, like normal people who like to
Well,
write. But as soon as they
normal
started,
people for people who sack your groceries in a orange vest.
right, right. But I mean, my point is they were just like, not like us. I don't think they'd ever necessarily go that far, but they were regular dudes. But around 10 years ago or so, when Trump was elected, they saw the way the winds were changing. And I think everybody across the spectrum, not just writers, opportunists of every stripe, saw that there was this intense wave of emotional reactionary anger towards this guy. And then there's a lot of stuff that's downstream from that Trump anger. And all of the opportunists were like, I'm hopping on that. And every single little tributary that spawns from that raging river of rage, I'm going to buy into wholesale to make a career for myself. And it worked out really well for them. And then the white dudes who did it are still just kind of simping and waiting.
Mm.
Like, if I hate Trump hard enough, if I turn trans,
Hmm.
maybe. I mean,
Mm.
is this going to work?
But even the ones who are kind of framed as quote unquote problematic are just it's so like
Yeah.
uh, piecemeal and kind of apologetic, like in terms of like talking about masculinity and stuff like that, those
Yeah.
sort of themes. I like the perfect example of this, and I haven't read it, so I don't know if it's good, but that Sean Thor Conroy book, like the way that people talked about this was like,
I don't even know
oh,
what this
he
is.
listens to Joe Rogan. And like so he's basically
You know about
talking
Kelby
about
and his beef, right?
no, I don't.
They went at each other.
Really?
Yeah.
About what?
Yeah.
Oh, is that? Oh, I think I know
The
it. Now I
fuck
think I know
boy
what it is.
guy, yeah.
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 Oh God, that's that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he is problematic. He's a fucking. Never mind.
What did he do? Tell us. I missed
He
this.
wrote a fucking terrible book, and
He was fighting with Sam Pink.
Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
he was
Yeah,
fighting with Sam Pink. I
because
was
Sam Pink
platforming
thought,
Sam Pink
yeah,
to
because Sam Pink thought he had stolen his style or whatever like that, which
well,
is kind of a dodgy thing to like argue, I think. But
so yeah, and like the reason I think for Sam personally, he don't give a shit. He's still
Mm.
painting, writing, doing his
Yeah.
thing, so he doesn't give a shit.
Sam's a badass.
But yeah, Sam's the goat. So it didn't actually affect him, but if he cared about his image, I knew that was like maybe a mistake to bring this up, because that's the way everybody's going to see it is,
Yeah.
oh, he aped your style, huh? You
Mm.
can't ape anyone's style.
Mm.
But that's not what he was saying. He was legitimately just pulling out receipts.
Mm.
Was like, this dude literally took my shit, gave me credit for it. I'm in the acknowledgments. He's on interviews saying, oh, Sam Pink, that's where I got this style from, obviously. And then is just basically
Not doing it well was his problem.
It was not doing,
Yeah.
You suck, like it sucks, and you're projecting to everyone that it gets really difficult to explain to people. Like it sounds like haterade. It's like, oh, you're just drinking the haterade. Like you're just mad that somebody, because Sean Thor Conroe got like $100,000 advance for that piece of shit.
It was more than that. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Interesting.
like it's not being it's not being a hater. It's that this is what everybody sees from a thing that, by this dude's own acknowledgement, I created. Like a thing I do is being seen in this gay
lesser way. Yeah. I do like what you're saying though about like he listens to Joe Rogan type thing. Where it's
that got David canceled.
You can be it did. Yeah, that was the first one. But you can be like a bog standard lib. I just said that I liked Alex Jones, and everybody thought that I was saying that Sandy Hook didn't happen.
Which you would never say.
I would never say that.
Yeah,
No,
we've never said that on patreon.com/agitator.
You've never even done it at rarecandy.substack.com.
For $5.
Or seven other podcast appearances.
Probably also on Getting Lit podcast as well, actually.
But you promoted your book the right way. Like you knew where to promote your fucking book though. Like you would go on and if you go on there and somebody goes, like say, you write God's Fair No Better, it's selling some units or stuff, and I go on and be like, hey, let's talk about, this bullshit or something. And you'll be like, wow, I don't really believe that. I don't really, it's like, wait, whoa. The reason people are buying your book is because you believe that. And that's my whole thing with the Rockstar thing, is in an era where people can name search you, like we're in an era where my parents do this and it bothers the fuck out of me. There would be a new restaurant. They'd be like, hey, you want to meet us at this restaurant? My dad already knows the menu. My mom knows what she's going to order. They've all looked at it. They've read every review. And I'm like, well, I'm going to read the menu at the place and decide it and do this. But that's the way people process things now is they see an author, they go, okay, I got God's Fair No Better, whatever. I look at it, J. David Osborne. Okay, let's look up J. David Osborne, see what he thinks and all this stuff. So it's like you might as well lean into it, but not in the way that I think some of these other people who say that they write problematic, like right-wing fiction or something. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that you do that. I'll decide it when I open it up. And also, just don't even acknowledge that what you're doing is problematic. Because the ultimate alpha move, truly, is to pretend the rules do not exist. That you are writing this book in 1998, like as though that's the rules that are in there. You're just like, I'm sorry. Everyone I talk to talks this way, so this is how I write. Kelby does that. If Kelby says the N-word on Agitator, he doesn't just go, hey, I just said that. You know what I mean? He doesn't do that. The sentence continues.
It just rolls so easily off the tongue for you.
Yeah. It really, I mean, it does. It's really annoying when people bring that, and it's rare because it does roll off the tongue. I think a lot of people, like what David said, they just hear it and they go, wait, Kelby's white? What? And then just move on.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, the like problematic on purpose is beta as fuck. Because I cringe when people are like, "Oh yeah, Kelby's saying the N-word again." Like,
you were posting Black Lives Matter 3 years ago. You were posting BLM Black Square 3 months ago because that's just the way you're wired. Is like you dive into a new thing, and that's your personality. That's what girls do. And as a guy, you kind of like, I like when I can tell somebody like doesn't know, or at least just like maybe knows that you're not supposed to say certain things anymore, but just does and just says it. That not every word is meant to be like to push you to the edge, but just talks normally the way you would talk at a construction site, the way you would talk with your friend who you're still friends with and would talk uncensored with. Like that's the kind of stuff I want to see. I understand that there's like this Daily Wire crowd who I actually don't think they read books. Like people try to market, like when you market yourself as problematic and like all this stuff, the Daily Wire people only want to talk about your cancellation. Like when you get like canceled, they don't like they're gonna be like, first of all, they say fiction's for women. They already like get into the idea that fiction's for women and men need to be reading nonfiction books about Israel birthright and stuff like that. Like you need to
Extremely
be
beta.
yeah, you need to be like that's so like when you go on there, yeah, you might sell some units or something and it's probably a big signal boost, but they want to hear about your plight. They want to hear about what happened, you know, that why the libs got mad at what you did, and your YouTube short will blow up. But I don't know that many people are going to buy and read your book. They might buy it, which is sick, but they might not read it and become subsequent. And if you're doing the David method where you want to write page turners, are they going to buy the next one? I don't know. You know, like, so it's just kind of this thing where, you know, like if you find a group of readers, like don't just go on and be like, yeah. And like, you have no idea, like the stuff I say could get me canceled and all this stuff. It's like, man, we lived through that.
You just find, by just being normal on podcasts, you find your audience is really diverse. And so I'll have people pick up my books and I'm like, have they listened to Agitator? Because I'll look at their profile and be like, have they listened to Agitator? And then,
I remember that
and then
guy.
there are other ones who will like buy the book and love it and like tweet about it. And I'll be like, oh, cool. Let's see what this guy's profile's about. And like he'll be starting entries and stuff, you know, like N. And then and I'm like, hey, I love all of you. That guy, by the way, has a really cool anime collection. So he's
of course he does. Of course he does. Think about all the people who bought. Like I keep bringing up Infinite Jest because that's like a true like rock star literary novel that spanned across. Like there was probably like racist ass people that bought that book. There was probably libtards who bought that book. You know what I mean? It just and books, like the best part about books is that it's between you and the author. So like for me, like I finished Gravity's Rainbow. That book is erotic pedophilia the entire time. The entire novel is full of erotic pedophilia. So if you know some leftists with a Palestine flag, all of this stuff, and they claim to have read Gravity's Rainbow, you could go like, what did you think of the pedophilia part? Like at least I can look at you and go, you read that, I read that. Either you're lying or you read the pedophilia that I read.
Yeah, they're lying.
You know what I mean? Like, which they did. That book is tough. That book consumed me for like 3 months. And there were many times where I was like, I can't, and I'm glad I did. I know people are lying or they listened to a show that talked about the parapolitical mapping of it or something and said that they read it. Whatever. I like the communities around books like that. I think that's really cool. But I just think the idea is that like you read like Stephen King call someone the N-word in like 1973. And like that was you like going, Steve, hell yeah, dude. Like you did that.
One of us.
And nobody around you like judged you for it or anything. Like that's like the actual author reader like bond. I think that's really cool. It's just like you're like, I remember that. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, well, like with the, I do want to talk about the kind of lameness of the right wing response a little bit more, but I want to sort of say that with the reason I brought up the fuckboy book is that I feel like that's the industry's kind of get out of jail free card because they say like, well, look at things like this. Like we talk about, we have men's fiction, things about like young men, and I think he's biracial, but like, he's half white, so it's like young white men, and we talk about like men who listen to Joe Rogan and stuff like that,
right? And
it's just like, well, but it's not being honest. Like from what I've seen of it, it's very it's hard to explain without reading passages from it. It's like done in this sort of like modern lingo, but it's done in this way that's apologetic, that it always allows him to get out of jail free by being
It's a commentary on toxic masculinity.
Yeah, exactly. That
and
old
it
chestnut.
Uses AAVE in an obviously
parodic,
cringy way. Whereas like I use AAVE and people are like, I don't know if this character is white or black or
and it's not important. Like it's
neither does
racial.
Neither does the character. He doesn't know his parents. His parents are left him in a dust storm, like in front of a Circle K, so he doesn't know.
All my characters are like feral Vin Diesel.
They're like all olive skinned, like quasi snowboard white guy Mexican hybrids.
I also wanted to talk about like the right wing sort of approach to this. So like I was saying that, by virtue of the fact that anyone who criticizes this cannot be someone within the industry and therefore cannot be a libtard or a liberal or whatever. So they've got to be. I don't think I've ever heard a communist complain about this stuff. So I don't think you're going to get people on the far left complaining about this stuff. But it's always some variation of right wing. And so, yeah, you do get the Alex Perez's who want a seat at the table. But then you also get the people building these institutions, self-publishing or starting up small presses that are reactionary in nature, which I think is a mistake. So I think that, reacting to this kind of marginalization, if you want to call it that, of male perspectives it just replays the ring fencing of certain perspectives from the other side of the political spectrum, and you're just rehashing the same thing but from the other end. It's kind of like the horseshoe theory kind of idea. So I don't want to read someone like I've seen lots of presses like this that are like really right-wing and reactionary, and from what I've seen, it does not make for good art because it's not putting the art first. It's putting like a rhetorical position first. Like it has to be based,
Well, one thing, I mean, I don't even think it's horseshoe theory, because horseshoe theory would be two equal sides getting to the same conclusion. Everything right-wing people do when they create art is acknowledging that liberals are in charge.
Yes.
And when you always are just like, you feel like you're the prisoners talking about the prison guards or something like that. Like, I want to see the first right-wing guy to not give a shit because they deeply give a shit. OPSEC, all of these things, like deeply, like so many of them are so scared. I've been in some of these little like circles and stuff where they're like workshop every post. Should I say this? If it doesn't get a certain amount of likes, it's deleted. All of these things. Like, I mean, it's pretty gay. And the thing with the right wing side of it is like, okay, you can be anything you want, whatever, be right wing, but a lot of the men, they'll do the same thing. Like, you can literally write about whatever you want, because literally reading is gate kept already because somebody has to read the book and get to page 172 where you say the thing that's bad, that you've already pruned out that audience, for a lot of it, and it'll take your book to blow up for people to like really hate that one thing you wrote. So like, that's already fake. And Kelby's already, with Facts and Logic, torn apart the publishing industry. That's correct. So that, just give that up already, because nobody should be trying to go that route, honestly. And then to me, what bothers me more than anything is all these right-wing guys, the Chads, testosterone, can't touch a receipt, can't do any of this stuff. The minute a woman is smoking a cigarette in front of a car like Joan Didion with the Substack, they soy out so fucking hard and immediately push her to the top of everything, and it'll be the worst slop gobbledygook you've ever heard, and this woman will cancel all of them later. Like, and so I'm always like, you guys should be sitting there and just writing. If you're really this mad at the world, you write that in narrative form without, in a very like artful way. I bet I'll like it. But that's not what happens. It becomes super ham-fisted, super heavy-handed. It's just as woke. It's like, just like anything woke that you see, where it's like, my gosh, really? You know what I mean? Like, my gosh, like this 1876 like Western Ranger is two-spirited and like all, like, it's the same concept.
Black Vikings?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like House Tyrell. This is really House Tyrell, I see. Yeah, but it's just like you have this like
House Tyrone.
yeah, and like which it becomes a to be original at that point, which is based. But the people like you with these people, like they already like assume second place, which is what I hate. And you can only write from there. So, like, what happens if you win? Like, because I do think a lot of stuff swung back. Like, you kind of can do a lot more stuff now. Like, if we're doing can and can't. I still don't believe in that. But if we're doing can and can't, there's a lot more people that want to, dip their toe into a little anti-woke stuff. People now I see like people balked the whole time. It was kind of like a, Trojan horse or whatever. It's like, actually, I'm just an annoying guy that posts on the internet all day. Actually, that's what all I have to offer you. And if you're like listening to this and you're like, who's he talking about? You. I am talking about you, and I'm challenging you. Like straight up, if you take it if you sulk about this shit and get mad, whatever, you should be challenged. If you're a writer and you're like, you should know I'm doing this all wrong. And
Yeah.
listen to Agitator, they'll tell you how to do it right. I'll tell you
Just
that you're
go
doing
write
it wrong.
books.
They'll tell you, yeah, it's not that. It is hard. I can't do it, but it's not. If you can do it, it's not that hard. But you've made all of these stupid things you
And
can't bypass. You know.
you know what it reminds me of? I use this as the gold standard of gatekeeping within a movement or a scene, but we're all familiar with black metal fans and
Oh
how
yeah.
everything has to be like about how raw and black metal it is, and if you
It's
don't
not
do
the
this or
sound
that,
either. It's all about how it pisses people off or how they
Yeah, you have
actually
to be
It
build
can't be
their-
like you can't understand what the singer like. They're like, if you understand the singer, it's bad.
right? And
Yeah.
so recently there's a band called Sleep Token that has blown
Yes.
up really huge.
Yeah,
and I love
yeah,
Sleep
yeah.
Token. I've
They're
listened to
the
their albums.
greatest band of all time.
They're up there for me, to be honest with you. And there are some songs that have objectively black metal parts in them where they're dissonant and there's that wow, 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 that kind of annoying screeching sound. And whenever people mention like, hey, this is crazy. It's like a song that starts off with marimbas and then it goes into this 3-part harmony and then there's a black metal blast of noise and everybody comes out and it's like, it's not black metal. It's not fucking black metal. Like Sleep Token is way too popular. It's not black metal. That spirit holds you back no matter whether you're in the libtard section of this or the right-wing section of this, like however, like this kind of hand-wringing over being true with a V, right? To whatever scene you're a part of kills your art because all the truest with a V black metal bands are dog shit that nobody wants to listen to, who followed all the correct rules to be the truest with a V black metal band out there, and nobody else wants to listen to it. And I think that's kind of what we're saying about the right wing sphere here. There's so many like hang-ups where it's people thinking about what other people are going to think about what they write or say or put out into the world, and it really corrupts the art. Instead, you can be a conservative person like myself and write goofy sci-fi with a bunch of gay jokes. Like you could do that.
You brought up a good point. Like I've run into this problem too, where people, I when we first started charging, like having our paid feed, like I was kind of like, well, what do people want to hear? What are people going to pay for? And it's kind of interesting because somebody will tell you like, well, I'll subscribe if you cover this. And it's like, let's say I do. Then they're like, oh, I don't pay for podcasts. What the fuck? And then it's kind of like this, like, and only right wing people do that, by the way. And because it's like this pay pig, like weird submissive thing, while completely submitting to the rules liberals put out there, by the way. And they'll do this thing, and I'm kind of like, well, you're trying to like, and they don't expand their audience at all. They don't want to. They're OPSEC and everything. It's all I want anons to buy.
They're
my book.
afraid of being made fun of.
Yeah, they're afraid. Exactly. They're afraid of being made fun of. They're afraid. Like, to me, I was just thinking the other day, like, why don't I pay for promotion for RC? Like, why don't, like, when I have an episode, why don't I, like, on Twitter or on TikTok or
Because
anything
if
like
it blows
pay for
up, it's scary.
I don't think that's why. I
Why?
think because I thought it was gay to do that. And I'm like, wait, it's not. I love
that's black
this
metal.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I love this shit. I would do anything. And I know it's good. You know, so I'm like, but what am I so scared of? Now you take that with the non-right wing side. They are ultra scared because again, a lot of these guys work like pretty good jobs. You know what I mean? And it's typically at the libtard factory, right? It's typically they work at that place where they're like, oh, I designed, you know, the DEI blob videos for Google or something. Yeah, whatever. It's a lot of, so they have that. And then they have like the people where it's like, if any, like there's a lot of people who tell you how to eat and how to look, how to lift weights and stuff, but they are non. And you're like, oh, you're fat. I know you're fat.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and if it comes out that you're fat, it's over. You know what I mean? Whereas any of us, it's like, whatever. You know, like
what we're saying is just.
Sorry, when they finally reveal their face as well, it's like this big event. Like it's so gay. Like
so
it's
mad.
there's all this pomp and ceremony. Like I remember when I actually kind of love him, but Solbra
Like Solbra too.
Yeah,
He
I
got
like
me on
He's
the
the son
glycine.
of the glycine. He got me on glycine too.
yeah, I like some of his stuff, and I find him really cute and harmless, but I find his meat stuff just disgusting. I cannot watch someone eat raw meat and shit like that. It's
He's
just
an
Yeah,
Aussie,
so
right?
gross. Yeah, he is Aussie. But like
Yeah.
when
A
he
lot
did
of
the
those guys do that shit. A lot of Aussies do the fucking raw meat stuff,
yeah,
man.
when he did
Including
the
Matt. But yeah.
no, I well yeah. Yeah, but
Different kind,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But when he did the face reveal, it was like he had a trailer for it.
I remember
I
this.
remember, dude.
I
And I
remember
was
this.
like,
That
He's
that's
like,
that's almost postmodern level
Yeah,
good
yeah,
in a way.
like, I
It's
found it
almost pushing it
yeah,
to a
I
good
found it
thing.
kind of
Yeah.
cunty actually, to be honest.
Yeah,
But like,
yeah,
but
yeah.
the like all the kind of how it's like this big deal for these guys. Like, I find that's really funny.
Yeah.
But like,
my trailer trash homophobia came out whenever his little face reveal trailer came, because I saw that and was like, he turns around and shows his face, and I went faggot, and then I unfollowed him.
it is.
and I
It's super
haven't.
gay. I love it.
Dude, no, I have like I think it was I won't say who, but I was recording with somebody who it was before we were talking like beforehand, and the guy was like, hey, like you've been like showing your face these last like for a long time, really since we started, and they're like, you're not like worried about that? I was like, I don't really have a job where I like it like my life is over if like I don't even think my company would know what I'm being accused of. They'd be like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what like that. So I'm like, but I'm also risking it because let's say I had a Don Draper Avi. I'd be mad that the Don Draper Avi's getting more credit than me. I'd be fucking mad. The
Yeah.
Pee Wee Herman documentary was pretty good in that where like Pee Wee was like, yeah, after a while the guy in the bow tie is like fucking getting all the credit, which obviously that's why anybody likes him. But like it's just he was kind of like, damn, like I'm starting to like get mad at the Avatar a little bit. But like a lot of these guys, I mean, a lot of them are gay, I think, by the way, too. Like I just get the idea because there's like this kind of like the planned rollouts of things, and it does feel very like whatever.
Right.
But
Works
to me,
at a
just rip
marketing
the
agency and sort of
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Like you want people to buy into you, and that's what I was talking about with the Rockstar author, where like people will just see you get interviewed or like, oh, that guy, he's making the press tour, he must have a new book or he must have a new movie, he must have this out and all that stuff. And like my thing is like, what's gonna happen if you succeed? Like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And yes, you will get doxxed. Yes, it will happen. People will find out. Like that is an inevitable part of the world. Like the today, unfortunately, like you can fight against it, but I don't think you're gonna win.
People are gonna finally find my warrant records that didn't get taken off wax whenever Texas T gets optioned for film.
Yeah, it's like
That's
the
lore.
art is
That's
deceitful
lore.
above all things.
Yeah, that's
You know?
lore at that point, which is great. I mean, literally you should stamp it and be like warrants in certain states, books sold everywhere. You know what I mean? Like like the little
Do you guys
little
remember
silver medal thing? Yeah.
Do you guys remember the heart is deceitful above all things?
No.
I can't remember the name of the author. JT. Whoever. There was a great documentary about it.
JT Robb. No. No.
The fake one?
It was the movie that came out with it
JT
had
Leroy.
JT Leroy. Yeah, or James Frey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that there's something in micro that happened to them in macro that scares a lot of creators away from promoting their work. I had this dark night of the soul with myself because I've been promoting God's Fair No Better on Facebook, and I'm doing it in it's like me holding the book in front of a tree,
Nice.
being like,
Hell
hey
yeah.
guys, I spent 3 years on this. I'm really proud of it. Check it out. And it starts selling like fucking crazy. But when you put that ad out at first, there's a little bit of like, if this succeeds the way that I tell myself I want it to, everybody's gonna like know things about me, and I'm gonna be exposed as this or that or whatever. And so I think people get really frightened of that, and it manifests in some people as having the PFPs that are different from their like whatever. But the biggest takeaway that I've had so far from this conversation that's really good is to reject the whole premise. Just the right it needs to reject the premise.
None of it's real. We
none
don't.
of
Yeah, we
it's
don't
real.
live under Stalin. We don't live under Stalin. We don't like have any. None of this is real. Like you
Yeah.
can. Yeah, like the minute it's kind of an ego death that needs to happen on the right is what I would say. Like this kind of like ego death thing, which people hate on like psychedelics, but that happened to me when I did psychedelics. I had a bad trip. I'm not really gonna do them again, probably. But like
Hmm.
I did learn, like, hey, okay, like you need to stop having such a high opinion of yourself. It stops you from everything you want to do. And a lot of people need to go through that, but yet they insulate themselves in a way to where none of that really can happen. The most that
Yeah.
can happen is a face gets put out, especially when it's like a
Hmm.
quasi decent looking guy. That's the one that
Mhm.
kills me. I'm like, why are you not putting this shit everywhere?
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're a decent looking guy
I
with a
remember
fucking comb
what's
over.
his
Like
name
it looks
from
great.
Passage
Yeah,
Press. He's
he's a
very
Bay Area guy.
handsome. Very
Yeah, put
Who
your
is
shit
this?
everywhere.
Lomas.
Lomez. Put your
Yeah.
shit
Oh,
everywhere,
okay.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like put your shit everywhere. Like all the time. You should be doing videos, talking, all of that stuff.
Mm.
That's a weapon you don't use.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And from the craft perspective as well, like I think you guys would agree with me that like when you go to sit down to write something and there's some kind of like uh frame, like political or otherwise or cultural, like for instance, if you're a right-wing guy and like, okay, I'm writing my anti-woke masterpiece. Like
Mhm.
that already is like gonna fuck with you because it's like it's not gonna
Yeah.
make it artful because
It,
you're
it can't
not.
become anything else. It
Yeah,
It's
can't,
not.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
not. It's not coming from a place of love.
Yeah,
All
and
great
that,
Yeah.
art comes from a place of love.
and
And you
that's
don't allow it to
exactly
travel. Like, oh, actually, this book. David was talking about this like on Twitter. He was like, well, I started writing the Wretched Blade of Tusk, and it ended up becoming this massive thing. So I'm actually going to do something else right now because that's not what I want to do. And it's like, but you at least allowed it. Like, okay, I didn't sit down saying this is going to be 200 pages, like no matter on the dot. It's going to have
Mhm.
this anti-woke message to it. It's going to have this. It's like, yeah, you kind of can allow your books to become things. And I mean,
Mm.
people can feel a sense of freedom when they
Mm.
read it, which I think these people are
and
cosplaying
it's exactly
in
the
doing
same.
that.
Yeah, it's exactly the same problem with the other side of the coin, which is the DEI fiction, for
Yeah,
want of a
for
better
sure.
term. Like it's just like, oh, I haven't talked about race for a while, so let's do this chapter on race or whatever, like, and talk about it in this
Back to
particular way.
1954 Mississippi we go.
Yeah, yeah. So like it's the same sort of thing that is like this artificial kind of frame for your creativity, and you should like not have. You have to have certain constraints because creativity is best when it's funneled in a particular way. But I don't think that's a funnel. I think it's a filter that gets in the way of your work when you've got something like woke, anti-woke as the lens, you know.
I've always maintained the hardcore stance that art is not political.
Mm.
Mm.
It's art.
Mm.
And political art is fucking boring.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
it's
May as well be an
I-
essay, you know.
yeah, write a fucking essay.
That's
That's
the
what I said
problem with
about Animal
nonfiction.
Farm.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there
The
you go.
best art
Make it an essay.
gets misinterpreted all the time because it's
Mhm.
not clear what it's trying
Right.
to say.
Media
We saw this
literacy.
recently. We saw this recently. Yerk was talking about this because he was bringing up how Alan Moore does his Alan Moore thing. I love Alan Moore,
So do I.
but he does his thing where he's like, I don't understand why people don't understand my characters, and it's like Rorschach, right, from Watchmen.
Oh,
He makes
yeah.
this badass dude in a trench coat with like a cool mask that changes shape, and he kills pedophiles. And Alan Moore's like, he's supposed to be like right wing and awful, and I don't know. And so Yerk was talking about, characters like Tyler Durden and Rorschach and all these creators who are like, I don't understand why they didn't get my messaging. But his point was very good, which is that like you did know. You knew that people were going to think those characters were awesome. You were trying to write awesome characters. And
Yeah.
then now in 2025, their beliefs about things are coded in a certain way. So you're retroactively going back. People don't understand that when Watchmen was written in the late 80s, and when Fight Club was written in 1995, I think.
Yeah.
6, yep. these distinctions didn't exist, which is what we're trying to kind of call back to with this whole podcast, right?
Yeah.
Is like when you could create a character like Rorschach or Tyler Durden or whoever else, and you were just making an awesome character that
Yeah.
you maybe didn't 100% agree with, but they're going to constantly do the coolest thing you could possibly do to make
And
the
that's-
book interesting.
And that's what you need to return with a V too. That is
Yeah.
not like let's go back to let's be really racist or something like that. Although you know, well, come on.
If
Like,
it's authentic,
who-
if it's authentic,
Yeah.
do it. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
like I can tell for a lot of people, it's a new fucking toy they picked up, you know, and they're like, you know, when you're a kid and you learn to cuss and you cuss every other word, you know, you don't even know what you're saying a lot of times, but you're just like, oh, I learned the word fuck and shit, so I'm gonna say it all the time, and I know my parents hate it, right? So it's like this kind of, like you're watching people develop learn a new toy or something. And yeah, and with the anonymity, they're allowed to erase what they were. So you're kind of like, oh, you've always been this way. You're fucking base, dude. I love you. Like, this is so cool. It's so cool that you measure skull sizes and do physiognomy, even though I can't see your face. Like this is so sick that you do this. And
Post nose, fool.
yeah, exactly. Well, you don't want that because then you learn. Then we learn other things about them, which that's usually what they're hiding. But then you know, whatever. Hey, those guys write good books too.
Yeah.
Jews are
Yeah.
designers.
They're
Yeah.
fucking awesome at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome at it. So it's like, again, I think
They're really
to
good
me
at making up stories.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think.
It was 400 million. Oh,
How many
wow,
books?
man.
How many books did you sell? So many.
I sold like 400 million.
What do you mean? I only sold 6,000. The bookstores can't even hold that many books. But yeah. Dude, I've calculated every bookstore's capacity for genre fiction, and they don't have that much room for this.
It's like, you know, just think about it. Just think about it. Would it even be debatable if the number was really that high?
Yeah.
I mean, really? Would it?
Oh gosh, we're talking about books.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, book sales.
Well,
yeah. So no, yeah. What I mean is like these people. I guess to do it is like be yourself, but also like be annoyingly yourself. You know, like annoyingly you. I think there's a degree of performance you can have, of course, but it's still got to be like rooted in what you do and stuff. And I think that's what gets longevity. And if this is a long game you're playing with writing books, like whereas like, okay, this book for 15 years might sit on people's shelves. Even if they buy it, they might not even read it for 10 years, you know, like that is just, you do that, but sell a bunch of books by just like, appearing everywhere, you know, like I'll tell you right now, as a podcaster, one of the best, if you want to reel in a big guest, read their damn book. But especially if they're not a writer, like if they're like a comedian or a filmmaker or whatever, and they wrote like a book, a lot of times they'll respond to the DM. They'll be like, hey, I read your book. You want to come on my little ass show, you know, compared to what you normally do? Like, it's not always yes, but for the most part, like, if you can just kind of like market yourself and because so much of it is like getting people to open the book and then seeing further into what you are, you know, but for the most part, like if you're just like, well, I am Ryan Gosling in Blade Runner 2049. That's what I am. That's what I am, dude. I write books and I'm Ryan Gosling, dude, and I'm in fucking stone cold incel. You know, my boy, he writes good books. He's Patrick Bateman. And like we have a collective and we don't know each other's names. He's Patrick Bateman. I'm Ryan Gosling. And but like, damn, dude, nobody's buying my shit, dude. Libtards ruin fiction.
I have my other friend who's Jennifer Connelly, who may or may not be a girl.
From career opportunities.
May or may not be a
Yeah.
girl, but may or may not be a girl, but she's definitely fat.
They're fucking based. Yeah.
See, this is the kind of like fun that you need to like inject into your non-mainstream, non-libtard like literary kind of scene. You know, you can't be relying on being so anti-woke that you can't have
Have
fun.
fun.
And
Right.
also, you have to be open to the fact that you might start writing something with some kind of, political point, like anti-woke misogynist thing with a maybe a female protagonist or something, and then you end up
Hmm.
identifying with the female
Yeah,
protagonist, and
right, right,
you end
right.
up caring for it, which is something that happens when you write characters and spend a lot of time with them, is that you don't want to condemn them. You don't want to
Hmm.
necessarily like
Hmm.
praise them and make them Mary Sues either. But like you have to be open to the possibility that that could happen if you write something like that as well. Like David's right. Like you're writing your main character in your new book is a woman,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And I'm sure you're not going to be like talking about what's it called? What's that word? um, Hypergamy or something like that in really
Hmm.
autistic way. It's not going to be about that.
Don't count it out. I could see him having something like
But obviously
Just
there'll be more.
a Welbeckian essay in the middle of the
Yeah,
book where
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
So
like,
obviously,
She's in an assisted suicide pod giving birth. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
obviously there's you're not setting out to say something
Hmm.
necessarily in that
Hmm.
anti-woke way about women. It's just part
Sure.
of the story. Yeah.
Right. I think, man, if I could soapbox for just a second, it's I think that the workaround for everything that we're talking about from a writer's perspective, so this goes out to the writers. I mentioned earlier coming at it with a sense of love, and I am getting into my late 30s hippie phase where I actually remember that scene in Donnie Darko where Patrick Swayze's pedophile character is like, it's
Yeah.
all love or it's all fear. I genuinely believe that now.
Mm,
Like
mm,
that's my whole perspective on everything.
Hmm.
But I think that if you really fall in love with storytelling and trying to, and you become obsessed the way that I'm obsessed with telling, like I want to tell the perfect story. That's my goal before I die, right?
Hmm.
Sales are important to me, but my ultimate goal, like as a craftsman, is to write a
Hmm.
book that is so readable and poetic and affecting and funny and deep that you just can't deny that it's a bad book. Like that motherfucker made a great chair or a
mm.
great table or a great whatever.
Hmm.
Like this motherfucker wrote a great book. So I think that if you get rid of all that nonsense, all that bullshit, woke, anti-woke, like whatever, and act like a normal person, but then when you're in writing, you really have a deep spiritual connection to your muse, right? Like it's a sacred space. Like I go to work, I play with my kid, I hang out with my wife, I watch movies, read books. But then when I'm writing, I'm a different person. It's holy. It's sacred. And I don't care if it's cringe, right? That's what it is.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
so like if you do that, everything that enters into your book, whether it's woke or anti-woke or whatever, it feels authentic because it is something that's being transmitted to you and filtered through you. I have a really good filter, is the way that I would put writing. I think Kelby has a really great filter. I think Matt, you have a really great filter where we've been given this ability to put into words things that other people can't, right? And so when you go there and you treat it as sacred and you understand that everything is alive and spirits are real and your head is their meeting place where they're having conversations, and then you sit down and then you very tactilely try to understand craft and structure and plot and dialogue and character and story beats, an amazing kind of alchemy happens where you suddenly find yourself incapable of engaging in this retarded bullshit where you're a nun or you're pussy hat. Like, pussy hat's outdated, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I really do think that's the solution for everything. I don't think that Michael Crichton, though he had political leanings that were retroactively putting onto him, I don't feel like he was a political person. He was a person who hated systems and authority
Mm,
and
Yeah, yeah.
bureaucracy. He hated bureaucracy,
mm.
right?
Sacred cows. He didn't like
So
anything that was a
me.
sacred cow.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
but when he
goat.
was sitting down, you can read this in interview after interview with him. he would think about his books. He would do kind of an outline, but he would write most of his books in a matter of weeks.
Yep.
They would just come out, right?
Yeah.
And what can you say about that other than he was in an ecstatic state where he was transmitting something onto the page?
I mean, the guy
right?
could bend spoons with his mind. He was he was very much a medium in some way. It was very
Yeah,
strange.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So that's my answer. Like the Alex Perez side of things, like stop caring about the castle. Like functionally, literally, that's not an option for you right now, young white male writer. And you shouldn't be bummed out about that because I've been there. I've been inside the castle, and it
Mhm.
sucks.
It's gay.
Uh, it is gay. You don't have to write to market. The dark side that I very rarely talk about with all these podcasts that I listen to is that there are sharks out there who are like, what's hot right now? I'm gonna write that. You don't have to do that
Mhm.
either. You literally just have to, and it sounds so simple, but it's so true. You just have to try to write the best thing that you can possibly
And
write,
and there's
and
a
you will
kind
transcend.
Yeah, and there's a kind of surrender to it as well that I think that,
Yep.
and that's, I like that you talked about it as an ecstatic state, because in an ecstatic state, you do not care what anyone else thinks. And in order to produce good work, I think you need to not have that, like, you need to not have that concern over your shoulder,
Oh
like,
gosh,
is
yeah.
this woke? Is this based? Like, who cares? Like, you
Yeah.
shouldn't be caring about that in the moment.
Those are
You might think about the
market-based
next day.
terms. Those are market-based terms. It doesn't
Mm,
fucking matter. It
mm,
literally
Hmm.
doesn't matter. And nothing that half the stuff that people wrote in like these times, the 90s, was just objective a lot of
mm.
times. And then now people go, well, it's based now because of how distorted everything is. It's just, if this is for a longevity purpose, like for the purpose of longevity, then just let the chips fall where they may. Like, it's fine. Like, people
Hmm.
can read it and say, this is cringe or whatever. It's like, well, I enjoyed writing it or I enjoyed reading it or something. Like, double the cringe then, I guess, if that's the case. And that, the people who, I was laughing, like, because I think I was I'd heard from a lot of people, because this is a weird thing about readers and writers. Like, I know some people who can't like read unless it's the perfect time to read,
Mm.
where
Hmm.
like they'll be like, light my candles, sit down, I have 4 hours to myself, and I read. And it's like, well, you're only gonna be able to do that like once a week,
Mm.
if that. I feel like writers are the same way, maybe, like where they're like, well,
Some
today
are.
is the day that
Mm.
I
Mm.
write. No, and then you read little Henry Miller, for all, as annoying as he can be, he's fucking smart, and he was like, dude, I will write in like a fucking bathroom while I'm taking a shit. Like he's like, I'll just write something down that's awesome. He goes, and I've also had writer's block at Big Sur looking out at the ocean.
Hmm.
He's like, it doesn't matter. And I'm saying with reading, I've read some of my the best place of all time to read is a plane, in my
Mhm.
opinion. Like when you're on a
Hmm.
plane, you're just like, I'll just blow through this book. There's nothing that can stop me from reading this book. But also, you
Dude,
know what? Dude, I learned this from my father-in-law, who's like 72. Women be shopping. I'll be outside with my book.
yeah, dude,
Antique
I
store.
love that.
Yeah.
I love bringing a book to
That's the
places
mass market
where
paperback.
Mm.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like, dude, isn't reading on a plane after you hit like hour three, it gets psychedelic reading
Yeah.
on a plane.
I read
The
American
ambient
Tabloid.
noise,
That's how I read American Tabloid, which
dude,
was
that's a
incredible.
great like getting to page
Yeah.
like
On a
500 in
plane.
American Tabloid on a
Yeah,
plane.
yeah.
Like you gotta be fucking like you're trying to parse out like those pretzels like one
Uh,
pretzel at a time. Like
yeah,
I gotta make
yeah,
this
yeah.
last.
No, it's
Just
awesome,
think of
man.
You're
Like
you're being
dehydrated, you're
shot
dizzy.
through the sky, and in your head, you're entranced in a completely different world.
yeah.
Like that's
That's
one of the
why
most psychedelic experiences you
that's
can
why there's
have.
a genre of airport
Mm.
books. Because
Mm.
Yeah.
reading on a plane is sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way better. It's way better than like watching a movie or something. It always
Oh,
feels
way better.
so bleak when you watch like
Wi-Fi on the plane. People who
yeah,
freak out about plane Wi-Fi, which I still can't get to work ever when I'm on a plane.
yeah. It never works.
I
It
have
never
never got
works.
the Wi-Fi to work on a plane in my
Yeah,
life. Ben Braddock was flying one time and he sent me something like a DM and he was like, yeah, I'm on a plane. I'm just like, how did you fucking do it?
Why
But
you
anyways,
lying?
yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Dude, that guy's fucking like 6'8" though. It's fucking scary. Like when you see him, I've met him before and I'm like, this guy's like fucking James Bond. It's crazy. Anyways,
Yeah,
it's wild. Another guy that should show his face because he's a fucking Chad. It's crazy.
Mhm.
Like, dude,
I had
he
a feeling
looks
it was a Chad. Yeah,
Dude, he's
yeah. I
massive. I had lunch with
yeah.
him. He's like fucking. I'm 6 feet tall. This dude's fucking. I'm like looking up like this at this dude, like, and he's just like James Bond, American James Bond, dude. It's crazy. But anyways, like
Who are some other hot guys you know?
he's the only hot guy. There's only one for me. Yeah,
That's the boyfriend in Boise.
yeah, exactly. He was on the plane. He got the Wi-Fi to work. It's like a Lana Del Rey fucking lyric and shit. Yeah, but anyways, like what I mean is like there's these people that like I've noticed that's kind of like it has to be like perfect scenarios and like this word vibe has to be right to like do anything,
Yeah.
and that bothers me and that just hinders so much productivity. Like I remember when I was a kid, like I don't have kids, so I know when people say, "Well, I don't have time to read because I have." Of kids or whatever. And I'm like, dude, my mom used to just tell me to shut the fuck up and she would read her book.
Yeah,
same.
Dude, like I was like, wait, is this a new thing? You can't do this to kids anymore?
Dude,
Like,
one of
I
my
was
one of
like,
my one of my earliest memories was
Yeah.
going in to tell my dad about something I was excited about in school,
Yeah.
and I was telling him about it, and he was trying to read like the one of the Wheel of Time
Yeah.
books,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he like puts his book down on his chest, and he goes, "I've read the same line 3 fucking times. Like, what do you
Yeah.
need to tell me?" And I was like, "Oh
Right.
shit, my bad."
Yeah. Yeah, my mom would just go diarrhea of the mouth alert like that,
Yeah.
and she'd be back into like Girl with the Pearl Earring, any of those books. Like she read all
Yeah.
that stuff, like all these things, and I'm just like, I just remember thinking like people have so much time to do. Like I feel like we've never actually had more time.
Correct.
I don't know, man. Like it's weird. Like you could talk about all these moving parts that didn't exist many years ago, but I feel like people have more time to write, to read, and they just don't because you're in the vortex. And the vortex is all the stuff we just talked about that was bad.
Just want the
It
dopamine.
really
You want
is.
the
It
instant
really
thing.
is taken up. Yes, the dopamine. It's taken up by the internet. I years ago, like it sounds retarded saying that because I've been out of it for so long. But years ago, I decided no social media apps. Like I don't do the apps on my phone. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm on, Instagram and Twitter and shit, but like
Yeah.
it's not on there. Notifications for everything except people I want texting me,
Right.
silenced. I get
Same.
my phone doesn't ding for shit. I check emails and I'm like, God damn, there's 500 of these bitches in here. I ain't reading all that. And that's the way to live. I want to write, I want to read, and I have to go to work, and then I come and do
Yeah.
podcasts with my friends.
Now I'm
That's
busy.
it. I'm
Mhm.
busy. I will
Yeah.
not respond to the 27 Instagram DMs that I have right now unless one of them is somebody wanting to give me money. Like,
Right.
you don't have to. You don't have to exist in the vortex.
I listen to audiobooks all the time too.
Yeah, that's a big
I
one.
think some people might think that this is kind of crazy, but this part's not crazy. I listen to them in the car at work, and I beast through audiobooks that way.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
But I also like during the weekend when I'm just kind of hanging out at home, I'll have these buds in and I'll
Yeah.
be listening to something. And then when it's time to do things or my kid decides that he wants to play, I'll turn it off and then turn it back on. But I have like a constant like I'm always posting like this is what I'm like reading. I'm listening to it, right? But
Right.
I listen to them very fast. Not the paperbacks. I have to read those, which is it is different. People who
It
are
is.
Such a fast listener,
reading,
bro.
reading and listening.
It's different, but it's
are-
supplemental. People don't
Yeah.
understand it. It's supplemental. There's always that art. That's another thing that gets
I
argued.
want to
Those
get as many
audiobooks-
books as I can.
Right.
I want to read, whether it's listen or read. I want to get through as many books as I can because I
Yeah.
have a limited time on Earth. So
Yeah,
I'll
right.
I'll do both.
Yeah, right now I've had like my process right now is I wake up and the first thing I do in the morning is read. So I read my whatever I'm reading. It could be on the Kindle, could be on a physical thing. I go for a walk, it's an audiobook. like a 2 hour walk or something like that. That's an audiobook, whether it's a biography of somebody we're going to cover on RC, some nonfiction or even fiction. Rereads typically too. And then at night, when I'm going to bed, it gets me to go to bed earlier, which is still a struggle, is like I will read like a tome and I'll go like 20 pages at a time. And it's like, to me, people will say like, well, I have such a love for my physical book. My physical book is, oh, my physical book. When I sit down with my physical book and I'm just like, you don't read shit. You don't fucking read anything. And I'm always like, dude, you don't realize it. Like at the end of the day, it's all supplemental. Yes, this is number one, although the Kindle is close. Like the Kindle's close. The Kindle is reading for sure, especially if you're reading something tough where you're like, oh, Wikipedia, oh, that's what that is. That's a missile. Okay.
Low key, I might like the Kindle the best.
It might be the
I
goat.
love having I like to hold shit like, oh yeah, I like this book. That's not necessarily how I like to read. I like to read on a black screen because my Kindle's dark mode. I like to read on a black screen, and I like to not know what page it is, and I just keep flipping through that shit.
Oh, I like the page. Cool. I like the page. That's interesting.
I'm more on Team Kelby with this. Like, I don't like to know where I'm at in the book because.
Oh.
But no, I say that. What's interesting is that for thrillers, I do like to read the physical ones because I like the weight of it. And like when I was finishing Relic and there's like 20 pages left, you have this thick stack on the left side of it.
Yeah, I love it.
Like, oh, okay, cool. But no, there are some books that I like if I'm reading a Stephen Graham Jones book, for example, like I like to not know where it is. And then it'll be like 5 days later and I'm still reading it, and I'm like, where is this? Where is this
Wow,
going?
yeah. Oh, that's weird for me. I love because there's nothing cooler to me than when you're like, okay, you could do it with physical book. You have just a handful of pages left, and you're like, something's about to happen, but how did they do this in 20 pages? Or the Kindle, you have like 84%, and you're like, I'm pretty sure somebody else is gonna get killed. Like, what do we do? I like. Also, I'm scheduling episodes so I can actually tell people, hey, I'm about a week off on this. Like, so if I don't know where I am.
You ever be like reading a Kindle book and you're at 84% and you're like, and then it turns out there's like a 20% like back matter thing.
That's
to
true.
The thing.
Yeah.
That whenever that happens, bro, I get so hurt when that happens.
That is
I'm
weird,
like, dude, I didn't realize the end was like 3 pages away. I thought we had some more space here.
Yeah, but I just mean like, dude, read this is like a golden age of being able to read things. Like, can you imagine? Like, imagine like all the
I can buy anything I want right now.
Anything. Anything. You can read anything you want. You can get it for a couple dollars on Kindle. You can get it for a physical copy of it on Amazon Thrift Books or something. And then you can, most of the time there's stuff on Audible. And it's just like, you can do all that. And then there's authors who don't put their shit on those things, which I think is insane. I think it's like people who only have their podcasts on SoundCloud. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
you're afraid. You're full of fear. You're afraid.
And
You're afraid that people are going to find
lo-fi, and it's cloaked in this lo-fi like love for the game thing where it's like, fear. It's whack.
Well, that's also like, plays into what we're talking about in terms of people are always looking for excuses not to read while also saying that I never have time to read and the other one that I really like is like, oh, all bookstores are libtard factories now.
Stupid.
Like the idea of like, oh, there's all these like my kid is a tranny now, children's books and like rainbow novels and stuff like that at the front. And it's just like, oh no, I couldn't possibly look in the back because like it's just going to be more of that. Where it's like literally you've got like fucking Ayn Rand in the back. You've got like you've got all of this stuff that is completely antithetical to that. Like, and the reason that's up front is that they're trying to push that, but that doesn't mean that there's not amazing, great stuff.
Why are you accepting the premise?
Yes,
why are you accepting the premise?
The adult, like, you let everybody else set the rules. Yeah,
you're allowing their pushing of this agenda to dictate how you act, and that's beta. I was in Half Price Books the other day. Speaking of kind of crate digging for books, and I find gems every time I go because I just like pick shit up. I found this book called Daisho, Daisho, and I picked it up because it's a Japanese word, and I'm a fucking weeb. But I picked it up, and it was like an erotic samurai novel, and I was
Nice.
like,
I remember this one. I actually used to
"Let
have
me
this,
grab
but I
it.
never
Let me
read
grab
it.
it."
Like, I remember it
Yeah.
was like it had like a titty girl on the front, and then like a katana or something.
Yeah. Well,
What? I'm
I
sold.
was in a because I went to when I was going to Portland. Let me see it. Let me see this. Let me see this. Oh wow.
Yes, yeah. I didn't have that edition, but I remember the book. Yeah,
Yeah. But
yeah.
when I went to Powell's, I went to Powell's on Hawthorne Street, and if you've ever been to Portland, this is the libtard factory you're walking
Yeah,
into.
the
You're
Hawthorne
walking
is
in.
that's a small one, but it's good too.
Yeah,
Mm.
but it's better in my opinion. And I
Hmm.
went and it's less intimidating. Like you'll never get through the main Powell's. You're just not gonna get you're gonna like
Right.
leave so much on the bone that you're like, I missed all the good stuff. But on
It's like the
Hawthorne
Louvre.
Street, you walk in and there are just straight up like brontosaurus like trannies walking around. Like you see just these like massive like they all have those like crazy long necks, green hair, mask on. I walked in and picked up Submission by Michelle Welbeck and also they had a dedicated front-faced Ayn Rand shelf in there.
Mm.
They had all these things because guess what? They don't fucking read.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
don't know what any of this stuff is. And I walked in and bought it. First off, you can feel like kind of subversive in a way, as cringe as that sounds. You're like, I just bought this at like the Libtard Factory. I do think those places are better than Barnes and Noble, which is a sterile, cold place now. Which back in the day, that used to be the
I couldn't
spot.
find shit in Barnes and Noble, dude. To
And
kind
it's all
of put,
$25. It's all 25
yeah,
bucks too.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's real quick. I just want to. This is what I'm trying to return to. This is my North Star. This is the back copy for Daisho. The blurb from Publishers Weekly says "Fast and Furious," an intensely exciting story. Here's the ad copy. Frank De Palma is an ex-New York cop in the Far East on a quest that will lead him deep into the violent, erotic, dangerous heart of modern Japan, where the woman he loves becomes a sexual slave to an ancient Bushido mystery, where a samurai
Mm.
society controls a gigantic corporation through terror, and where a child's past holds the key to a nation's future.
Hell
Fucking
yeah.
sign me up, bro. That's an instant purchase. Like fuck your fucking you know the thing about like Nutcranker and all those books, like I don't have anything against those guys. I think that Dan Baltic dude's a really good poster.
Mm.
But that art style for like The Pussy by
Mm.
Delicious Tacos, it fills me with such a like uncanny dread when I see that art
Microsoft
style.
Paint art.
It's like
Yeah.
the Google style that everybody hates. That's what that reminds me
Is
of,
it
but like the
supposed?
right-wing version of
Yeah,
it.
is it supposed to be like an ironic kind of play on that or something, like the bubble
Maybe,
people
I
and
don't
the
know, but it
infographics?
puts me off
Yeah,
so
I
bad.
find it
Like I just
so repulsive.
yeah, it's repulsive. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like Ren and Stimpy style repulsive, but
Mm.
but not even with that kind of charm. It
Mm.
feels dead on the vine to me.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, man. I mean, half price. Like my big one is half price books. I love half price
Yeah, we
books.
don't have
I go
those, man.
I
Yeah.
go to Goodwill a lot.
Goodwill's
Always
Yeah.
great.
find.
Goodwill's
Yeah.
great. Senior centers where people die all the time.
Oh
That shit's
yeah,
Uh-huh.
great, dude.
yeah.
I
Feel like a
bought this copy.
vulture when you're
Yeah,
like picking
Hmm.
over the
dude.
carrion of their life. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was funny. There's a senior center in Carson City, Nevada, where my in-laws live, and there was this shelf of like clearly some like based guy died like 2 weeks prior, and his kids were like, does anyone want these fucking books, which is sad because I'm like, you should read your dad's books. That's like when your
Mm.
dad dies, you should like read his bookshelf, like at least a few
Hmm.
choice things. And
Yeah.
but it was like Don DeLillo Underworld, the James Ellroy Underworld trilogy, Gravity's Rainbow. I was like, dude, your dad is whoever's dad died is cool, like that was
Mm.
like awesome. So I was like, at least I get this book. Like,
Mm.
and I don't know,
Hmm.
who cares, right? What if, who knows what that guy's belief system was in terms of like what happens after you die? But like, I thought that was a good idea. And I could only hope that that's the case, my bookshelf, at least somebody gets some good use out of it when that happens. Whereas you go to like Barnes and I used to work at Borders. That was one of my first big jobs. And like those places were cool because they had big plush furniture with coffee shops and it was like fun. They actually wanted you to hang out in there. And do that. But you go in those places now and they close and die because you're like, yeah, this sucks.
Mm.
Like this sucks ass. It's not because of, I mean, it is because of certain places, but used bookstores stay open. You know, like they stay open. Barnes and Noble closes. And
Yeah.
I like them. I push back completely on the lib. I'll go to when I find a bookstore that is like super libtarded, like the New Pride Flag, the like a weird Black Fist like knitting, like that. If I say like if you ever like that, it'll just be those things. Like it'll be you don't even know what it's for, but it's just a Black Fist with like a ball of yarn, and you're just like, all right.
Yeah,
A uterus, a yarn uterus, and
dude.
you walk in there and you're just like, I'm gonna find this coolest shit in the world in here. I know it.
Dude,
Hmm.
so when I was back in my hometown where I grew up and I looked for bookstores and I found one. I'll call it Gertrude's. It wasn't that, but it was like an old lady's name. And I was
Okay.
like, I took my wife, I
Tranny
was like,
name. Yeah.
yeah. I was like, let's go check this out and like see what we can find, right? So we pull up to it. It's in a strip mall, a dead strip mall. The town I grew up in is just horrible. It's awful. But
It
we
is
walk up
bad.
to the
I've been
door. Yeah, and it says no one under 18 allowed. I was like, "Oh, interesting." And so half the store is porn, right?
Nice.
And the other half is used books. And to jump ahead, when I bought the books that I bought, at the register, there was the most disgusting sign I've ever seen, which is that there was a 48-hour return policy on porn magazines,
Oh,
which is crazy. So some of those were used, and the whole place smelled like cat piss. It was
nice.
dingy. I mean, just a disgusting place. And the
Ving
woman
Rhames is getting raped with a gag ball in his mouth. Like, right,
yeah, exactly.
downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the buy two get one free in that place. But like
Yeah.
the owner is like this old obese woman in a muumuu is like framed with all these dildos and shit behind her. Like it was
Wow.
choice. It was very choice. But I found some cyberpunk classics in this
I bet.
bookstore. I
I
found the
bet.
Glass Hammer, right, which is
Yeah.
really hard to find, which is the sequel to Dr. Adder, which when I looked on Amazon, it was like, "Ooh, it's $60 if you want this book." I found it
Wow.
for $5 in this place.
Nice. That's
And
sick.
so like crate digging for books is it's the way to go. Like
Oh,
there
yeah.
are so many fucking books out there. Like don't that's another I think key takeaway for the literary man in this one is do not be a slave to the current thing.
Hmm.
Buy God's Fair No Better, which is a current thing, but
Yep.
also don't be a slave to it. Like
Yeah.
a lot of these complaints that I hear is that things are not being made right now that appeal to me. I have great news for you. This shit exists,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
From a writer perspective, I understand it a little bit more because it's, the things that I'm interested in are not being published or accepted or paid attention to. I get that. But if you're a reader and you're saying like, man, nothing's good now, fucking who cares?
You've got centuries to comb over.
Centuries
Yeah.
that exist. Yeah,
Yeah.
go.
It's quite
I think
a bit.
I think that's like a key thing that we've been talking about just kind of across this whole thing is that like we're very anti this kind of like spineless limp dick like things should be served to me on a platter like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
new should be served to me on a platter.
Curator.
No,
Yeah.
you have to go look for it. Go become a curator. Where are all the curators at?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
used to exist. 15 years ago, there were blogs of people who would read books like Daisho and like whatever. And Substack is bringing this back a little bit. But yeah, stop being a little bitch about everything and just
That's number one.
go find things.
Yeah, which is like it's a masculine thing to do. Go out and
Right.
hunt.
It's how
You know,
country.
like-
It's how countries got made.
Yeah, yeah, and also just like take responsibility for the new. If it's not serving, what's coming out isn't serving you, you need to make or curate, which is a kind of making. You need to
Yeah.
make it happen, and that's the way to be like a man. Like it's a creative process, and you make your mark on the world that way. So stop pussyfooting around.
I can't stand people who are waiting for like a publishing contract to be handed to them or a reading list to be handed to them or like I hate this hand holding bullshit.
It's
Like,
so disingenuous too, because they'll never point out. Like if you ask me to honestly um recommend some brand new good shit, I don't care if it's music, movies, books. I could rattle off a ton
yeah,
Mm,
of good
yeah,
shit. They don't ever talk about good shit.
mm,
It's like it's
yeah.
all over the place. What
Yeah.
exactly
Like,
do you
what's the
want?
good thing that's already in the zeitgeist that,
Yeah. What's the
like,
good thing that
what are you talking
everyone's
about?
talking about? Nothing,
it's in the
because
yeah, it's in a because they're in an older frame, and this is the same idea of they long for like the old literary world with the Brat Packs and stuff like that. They're in
Mhm.
an older frame where like there was a mass media, there were people who were sort of selected and like promoted in this system, but that doesn't exist anymore. It's much more like
Well, it
sort
does,
of
but not for
yeah,
us.
Well,
yeah,
and you
Yeah.
get
yeah,
rewarded for being negative now. So
yes,
everything
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
see sucks on purpose, by
mm,
design.
mm,
The
Hmm.
best that like the things that blow up on Twitter are trashing other things.
mm.
Right.
Orc
It's
City.
takes Orc
Yeah,
City.
yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that guy.
It's Orc City.
Yeah, like the other day I saw like Thomas Pynchon's new book's coming out and everyone's like, this cover's gay. I'm like, he's 88 and writing a new book. It's not even a bad cover either. I fucking thought it was tight, but I was just
This
like,
is
I
I was
did
like, you
see
haven't
one
like,
where they did it more like this, like where they changed the font, and it did
yeah,
look tight. It did look super
okay,
tight.
sure,
But
but I'm
this title, I
like,
mean, this cover
yeah,
looks good too.
Yeah.
It's
Also,
fine.
going back to what we were saying before, I guarantee you 90% of the people who were saying that have never read Thomas Pynchon,
yeah,
like,
no,
all the
exactly.
way
Or
through.
they've been told it's bad again, and that needs to be gatekept. That's not for everybody. That is hyper
Mm,
niche. It's its own thing. Don't take inspiration from it. It's its own thing. Just appreciate that it's here. But I just mean you wouldn't know. Like these people comment on all of this shit. They hear an opinion from somebody about this guy sucks. This guy sucks. Pick it up and read it. Like
mm,
you have time to do it. Like I guarantee you, you have time to do it. People with that are a lot busier than you, read a lot more than you do. They write a lot more than you do. So figure it out. If you want to get stuck in the weird hamster wheel of just curation, that's gay. Curation, that's gay. I don't have anything. There's nothing anymore.
mm,
I can't even go to the bookstore because liberals will put me in COVID camps, and I
mm,
can't. Like look, I lived through that for a long time. Like I lived through that for a long time. It's done.
mm.
That shit's done. And I think a lot of people are scared of freedom in that sense. Like they're very
Yes,
scared
thank you.
that
Yes,
that are very
Oh,
scared that there isn't like no
that's
one's actually
bars.
stopping you. Nobody's actually stopping you right now. Now what?
Mhm.
You're scared of freedom. That is such a good
Yeah.
fucking line, dude.
A
I
lot of
love
people don't
that.
want to win. A lot of
Yeah,
people don't like winning, and a lot of people don't like freedom.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You could take that
We're in
with like
America.
every
Sorry, that's how it
everything that
works.
we talked about with the
Yeah.
publishing industry and curating. It can all be boiled down to Glenn's line, where you are scared of freedom.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like you're really afraid to be a free
It's
person.
tough, man.
And to make something new and like make new myths and stuff like that, you have to be not scared of freedom. You have to
Mhm.
embrace it and
Yeah.
not let other kind of things like shape your craft, your curation, the mark
Yeah.
that you want to make on the world. I think that's a really God. Glenn always drops the bars, doesn't he?
He does.
There's a lot of filler. There's a lot of filler, but eventually you'll get some. But yeah, yeah, it takes like fucking 2.5 hours, but it does happen. But no, like if you were a skater and you were like, fuck, dude, I really can't fall like at all. Like there just can be no way where I fall. It's like you suck.
Mm.
Mhm.
You gotta eat shit. Like
Mhm.
like and publicly people see you and go,
Mhm.
oh fuck. Like you fell your ass cracks out, you fell so fucking hard.
That guy looks stupid as hell. Look at
Yeah.
him.
But he's also free.
Mhm.
That guy's free.
Mhm.
So like
100%.
you're just laughing at something you'd never try.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
again, that's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah. Well, this has been great, fellas. Thanks so much for joining me for my inaugural podcast on this new
Yeah.
venture. And I think there's a lot there that people can take away and hopefully be inspired by.
Yeah, you're gay now. Get to work. That's
yeah,
what the message
that's
is.
right.
You
Yeah,
suck.
yeah.
You are
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
You're welcome to our boot camp. Go right.
Yeah. And
if
also,
you don't get it now, kill yourself.
yeah, also,
Yeah.
That's my message.
also, like sell as well. That's an important part of it too.
Sell.
And,
Always be
and
closing.
which is fun. Yeah, exactly. Like I spoke to David Mamet recently,
David Mamet,
and I was thinking about that. Like, fuck you, sell. Like,
You need to brag way
Yeah.
harder about that, by the way. You need to be like spoke to David Mamet Award. You need to be that. You need like you're way too calm. I didn't even know when you were promoting. I didn't even know he was on it. I was like, oh, you read the David Mamet, but that's cool. I didn't even know that. You were like, oh, he's on the show. I was like, this is crazy. Yeah, you gotta. You need to take your own advice and be like, we had the #1 interview David Mamet's ever done. Should be in the Getting Lit thing. In
Yeah,
that
okay.
thing.
I'll take your advice.
David Mamet's favorite interview. It doesn't
Yes,
matter.
that's right.
World's best cup
Yeah,
of coffee.
sell.
It's
You sell. Fuck
it's
you,
world's
sell.
World's
best cup of
greatest
coffee.
dad.
Yeah, that mug's available for everybody, but mugs. World's greatest cup of coffee, right? The elf joke, like it's like that. You're fine. You know what I mean? Nah, I'm playing with you. It was a great interview.
No, and it was like I should sell it more, and he appreciates it too. Like he's a bit of a media tart, so even David Mamet does that. So you should
Exactly.
too.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet, man.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Hell yeah.